Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to round 4 of the 2015 Supercup season here at GPVWC. We're at Portimao, also known as the Algarve International Algarve, if you want their full name there. It's a 4.6 kilometre circuit of elevation changes galore, and for this week at least it's been raining men all the way down to turn 1. Alongside the regular rain as well. My name is James Kirk, and alongside me, as always, is Mr. Sam Jones. Now, both of us took part in the Formula Challenge yesterday, Sam. We've experienced the rain firsthand, and let me tell you, it is torrential. I've not seen it this bad in probably 2 years or so since we've started using R04 on R-Factor 1 here. Tricky conditions, thankfully, in a dry qualification session so far. We could see pop up in the races though, and as we found out ourselves, the rain can change literally everything in terms of the form guide.
Yeah, hello James, hello everyone at home, and great to be here again for round 4. I can't believe we're at round 4 already. Yeah, I finally managed to dry off my boots and my suit and my sunglasses as well, because I thought we were going to have some sunshine, but clearly not. And yeah, the rain yesterday was nothing short of torrential, really. It was so much. It was something like 50 or 60%, I don't actually know, but it was so wet that there was no chance of getting onto these slicks, especially in race 2, until the very end of the race, and it just wasn't worth it. And if we do have any kind of rain in any of the races today or tomorrow, then you really will see the drivers who are good. Maybe they could still be good, but you'll see other drivers that perhaps feature more in the midfield definitely come to the fore, as we saw in Australia with Menno Clont taking that victory, although he got his strategy perfectly right and drove a very good race as well. Not saying that Menno's a midfield driver, but it does show that sometimes you can get an unpredictable result. And looking at this track as well, this is a very tough track, so I expect some unpredictability even in the dry.
Yeah, it was in fact our first fully wet evening of the year. There was no point where there was absolutely no wetness on the track. Even in qualifying, when the dry tyres were utilised, there was still some wetness off track, and combined with the fact that this is the same sort of tyre wear as Spain, it must be said that the wet tyres were brought to the very edge, shall we say, and I myself had damage in race 1. I actually had a puncture on the last lap as well, so you got to be careful. I don't think we're going to have fully wet races here today. We may still yet, though. At the moment, in qualifying, we've got 11 minutes to go. Sven de Vries for Satellite Racing, our championship leader, sits on pole position with a 1:23.0. He heads Risto Capit and Emmanuel Gashella so far. We've got no grid penalties to worry about this time around, since all the people with grid penalties are not taking part. That said, we are still not going... Oh, yeah, okay, apparently we don't have pictures, so we do apologise. We're going to restart in one. We're going to give you some radio commentary for the moment. As I see Sven de Vries actually going off the track there. But we've seen the fastest time in open practice being a 22.4. Risto Cap has almost gone and beaten that, a 1:22.6 now from the Estonian. And it must be said, Walk Racing have finally found their form. A double win for Ruud Easterbeek last time out in Spain. Absolutely dominated the event, no matter what people might say otherwise. 2 wins is a pretty solid domination, according to me. And Risto Capit looking strong again. Ruud Easterbeek looking there or thereabouts on the pace as well. And could we see Walk Racing really start to challenge for the title in this European stage of the season? Because they, we said they're fast drivers, and they are really showing what they can do now.
Yeah, I think Easterbeek for sure has shown that he is a guy who's more than capable of winning races, and winning plenty of them too, after winning the last 3 on the trot, which is really impressive considering the level of competition in Supercup and how close it tends to be, as he and Sven de Vries leave the pits and go around the track together, the 2 main title rivals, you'd have to say, at the moment, although it's still a very long way to go. And yeah, Risto Capit, I wasn't too sure about him, especially after his performance in Bahrain. But he definitely had a very good showing in the last round at Catalonia. So he's certainly picked up the pace, probably got used to the mod a bit more, got used to the car. And so Walk Racing as a whole team certainly looked like one of the strongest teams on the or in the field, sorry, at the moment. I can't really think of many other teams that have two drivers that are performing so well at the top. So, certainly in terms of constructors, you'd have to say they might even be the favourites right now.
And Risto, of course, is a winner at Portimao this year in GPVWC. He won race 2 and indeed took pole position in the Portuguese Sports Series. So he knows this track well already from his Flat 6 adventures, and he's shown he has the speed around here as well. Someone else who's showing speed and very refreshing speed at that is Emmanuel Gachella for Storm Racing. Now, Emmanuel took pole position last time in Spain, and there he is once again, up there in P2. I believe he was P2 or P3 in free practice as well. So the Romanian, we saw him struggle so many times last year. It seems like he's just clicked finally with this mod. He's really showing the sort of driver that we were expecting him to be perhaps a year ago.
Yeah, he's picked up the pace, especially in terms of one lap pace. He's clearly one of the fastest out there. He's done the same for the last couple of rounds as well. What I'm worried about, of course, is his race, whether he can keep the consistency there. He did manage it in race 1 in Catalonia, although he did have to recover quite a bit from not the greatest of starts. So hopefully he's worked on his start procedure. It's certainly something that's way harder than Formula Challenge, where all you have to do is let go of a button. It's that easy. It's like driving a go-kart. But oh, look at that! Jonathan Holmes in third right now. That's good effort from Jonathan after, well, not doing too much in the way of practice.
Surprising his own manager, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you're certainly pleased right now.
Yes, great effort from him.
I don't think he's ever raced here before either, though.
He's raced here in other simulations. I know that much. And I also know that and to be fair, a lot of other drivers, I think it's worth bringing up, they've been very critical of either Portimao the circuit or this particular build of Portimao. It's actually an older version of the track than is the way now. Turn 1, the whole complex there is completely different in real life now. It's sort of like an Indianapolis chicane before it opens out into turn 3, as it is on this circuit, the tight right-hander before going uphill. But yeah, a lot of drivers just aren't gelling with it, and just having a look down the order, Ruud Heesterbeek hasn't improved from that 1:23.3. He's currently marooned down there in P14, and perhaps, I mean, look at that, Tom van der Voort as well, Pedro Mellon, the two Simcraft guys, 18th and 19th, so there's definitely a couple of people here who we'd expect to be up at the front really struggling.
Yeah, it certainly is. Simcraft all over. Look at that. 18th, 19th, just like you said. I can't believe that. This is quite a unique circuit, though, I'd have to admit. And for these guys that are struggling down in the lower midfield, as it would look like at the moment, it's not going to be easy for them, because I was so surprised yesterday at how tight and twisty this track is, and it's not hard to follow someone. But making the move is the difficult part, because there's so many corners where you've got such a strange entry into the braking zone that it's so easy to lock up and spin the car out. So you really have to be committed and be quite positive that you're going to be able to get the car up the inside and get to the apex of the corner and hold the corner throughout to be able to hold on to that position once you take it.
And I think that's the crux of the argument that I would like to put forward. I mean, Portimao was a bit of a surprise on the calendar across World Sports Series and indeed the career ladder for this year. It was a pick that the administration have widely defended, and I think rightly so. It's, you know, good to try some new tracks. I think the majority of people agree it's a lovely track to drive around. But perhaps, unless you have a high quality field, it's maybe not the best to race on. Which, you know, it's all a learning experience. Of course, we're likely to move on to our Factor 2 next year. So there is plenty of time to, you know, consider our options, of course. But we're going to have to wait and see perhaps how Supercup and Super League go before we can judge it in terms of its raceability. So, under 5 minutes to go now, about 4.5 as we speak now. Your top 10 currently are Capit on pole with Gisela and Holmes second and third. Siggy, the guy who led free practices in fourth with De Vries fifth. Muscat sixth. McNaughton with a great effort so far up in seventh for Storm. And then we had the two Wouters of Junt and Frančić eighth and ninth. And Wilke Hoekstra filling in from Zurich Racing, replacing Christoph Schur. Up there in P10, Hoekstra did a pretty solid effort in Formula Challenge yesterday with 2 11th positions. I'm pretty sure a 10th in qualifying in the Supercup field will be doing him and his manager very nicely.
Yeah, certainly. Sorry, losing my voice. Very many meetings today.
Yes.
And a late dinner as well, so that's only just gone down. Yep, that's not going to help. Yeah, Waters Automotive, I don't know who you were talking about, sorry, we were trying to sort out the broadcast here. And Waters Automotive, I would just like to say they have improved immensely in qualifying here so far, because they've struggled in qualifying this season, especially with David Junt, who's really been into the lower half of the field, so, and then he's had to recover through the race to end up inevitably getting a top 10. So it's a good sign to see that they're on the pace early today in what is quite a tight qualifying, with currently the top 23 separated by a second. That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's been very, very close so far this year. It's always been around the top 20 or so covered by a second, isn't it? And it's no different the case here. We still haven't seen that 122.4 that we saw in free practice from Kevin Siggy. Neither have we seen any sign of rain, which I think a lot of drivers will be thanking their lucky stars for. As we have Riemann left. Actually, to be fair, I think I'm listening out very carefully. I think I can hear rain. I might be completely wrong.
It's looking pretty grey overhead.
It's looking very grey, isn't it? Because I think it's safe to say, if the rain hits, then there's absolutely no chance. I can hear rain, I'm certain of it. I'm going to go on to live races and see what's about. But yeah, that's definitely rain. I can hear it. I can hear it. I'm certain. I'm not going mad, am I?
I've got my sound really low, so I'm really not sure. But if you can see it, then it's definitely
I can't see it. I can hear it. Yes, it's 6% on, 6% off. It is raining on circuit. And yeah, you can just see little drops now. It's enough to... It's not enough to be visible as such, but it's enough to throw people off. And I think that might be our qualification session done. I'm seeing drivers struggling. So, could this be it? I see everyone pitting now. I think that's our session done and dusted. It started raining at the end of the qualifying session, so we're not going to have a climax to the flag. And with 1 minute left to go, it is Risto Cappi who takes pole position for Walk Racing, their first of the year, followed by Emmanuel Gisela and Jono Holmes.
Wow. That is certainly incredible. It's a sad way to see the session go, but it's not bad nonetheless. And good job by Capit, though. Really good effort.
It's also, I'd say, a great effort from McNaughton and Hoekstra. Not usually two names that you'd see up there in the top 10. Hoekstra because he's a reserve driver, and McNaughton because he's been sort of on and off the pace so far this season. But great to see them back in. I think Storm Racing certainly won the form teams. Wouters, of course, with 2 cars in there as well. Seager with a good effort. Holmes with a great effort. Muscat, Multiforce back in the car, back in the top 10. Let's look at people who've perhaps disappointed a bit. Tom van der Voort in 12th. Not really what he was expecting. Menoclons, again, not in the top 10. Ruud Heesterbeek in 17th. In the esteemed company of new boy back in the racing car, Adam Rouse and Nico Barkley, Chris Butcher. We were expecting so much. Look at this, Chris Butcher, who was brought in to replace Pedro Milim at Simcraft. He's finished up ahead of Melim, who's gone 20th. As actually, oh, there we go. So Philip Cullen there's actually coming back into 14th. So Heesterbeek only 18th. Melim 21st. Tapper 24th. Deary me. And look at this. We were talking about ST last time out and how they needed change. They have got change. Todor Pangiv, their reserve driver, now in the car full time. They're still back of the grid. So there's definitely going to be a lot of disappointed faces around the paddock as we now head into the warm-up for race 1.
That's incredible. Sorry, I'm really trying to sort out this presentation right now, so
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
so keep talking away.
I'll
Keep
spout
talking
some
away.
more at our
Yeah.
viewers. Don't worry. So, if you're new here in the Super Cup, then we have a two-race format. It's very similar to GP2. We have a feature race followed by a sprint race. The length of these races in question for Portimao is 36 in race 1 and 22 in race 2. Now, we're expecting a similar sort of wear as we saw last time out at the Circuit de Catalunya. So we're expecting 1 or 2 stops in race 1, 1 for the more conservative guys, 2 for the aggressive guys. And then race 2 is going to be an interesting case of, we imagine it's going to be half and half again, maybe a load of people going for an option strategy, whilst the rest have a prime option or prime compound strategy where they have no pit stop at all. In race 2, we also have a reverse grid of 5 to 10 racers, as Lewis McGlade tweets in to say, in regards to Risto Capit, said he had the pace. I think we never said that he didn't have the pace necessarily, as Sam touched upon earlier though, Lewis. It's all about his racecraft, which is the big thing. That's where he's fallen down upon himself in Australia and indeed in Bahrain. We managed to see a better Risto Capit in Catalonia. I still think there is a lot of time, or there's a lot of things left to learn. Mind you though, perhaps at the front of the field, if he gets a good getaway, maybe he won't have to battle at all. There we are. John O'Holm saying, well, my third ever quali lap dropped to 22.7. Happy. Yeah, I thought he didn't have that much practice. Let's have a little look here, though. So we've got in the other point scoring positions, because, of course, points run down to 15 here at GPVWC. We've got Scott Beresford filling in for Matt Richards in TSA Racing. He's 11th, so a good quality from him. Got his first podium of the year in Formula Challenge last time out. As you say, Van der Voort 12th, Clont 13th, Cullinan 14th again. He's always had one good race and one poor race. Hopefully he can have 2 good races this time around. And Danny Asbury sort of been a saviour for Street Fighter this year, bringing in the points very slowly. He's got the final point position in qualifying there in P15. So that said, points don't come in qualifying, of course, they come in the race. So if you want to get involved with any of the proceedings today in terms of questions for drivers in the interviews after race 2, in terms of just your thoughts in general about the racing, maybe what you had for dinner, then please make sure to get on Twitter and either mention me at KirkyLive or hashtag GPVWC Live, and we shall try to feature as many of your thoughts throughout or after the show as possible. We've got 10 minutes of warm-up, so perhaps it might be worth having a look now to see whether anyone has come across them. Just actually might as well have a look to see whether we've got any missing drivers, actually. So let's see, we've got 1, 2... So we do have a missing driver, and I think it might be the positive sim racing car of Luis Mesa. Don't see it. Yeah. So we're missing 1 positive sim racing car of Luis Mesa here today, which is a shame as well, since he had such a great start to the season. Well, I say great. Didn't take part in race 1, came through the entire field to come through and finish P6. It was a monumental effort, and he's just been off the pace everywhere else he goes, though we believe we have a idea why that is. We believe he's good at stop-start circuits. Australia is one of those. Bahrain kind of one of those, but not really. Lots of fast sections there. Maybe street circuits. Maybe he'll come back into form in Singapore, maybe even Monaco. Wait and see, as it started raining here in qualifying again. And I was thinking this was going to be the case. So generally, we have 2 sets of tyres, first of all, in Supercup. It's not like Super League where there are 3. We have 2 sets, just like Formula Challenge. We have the dry tyre and we have the wet tyre. And the crossover point for that dry to wet tyre is 20%. That said, though, if it's less than 20% online, but it's something like 30 or 40% offline, there is not really much point in going onto the dry tyre. As one wrong move and you'll find yourself spinning off. Just having a look now, the rain isn't going up as rapidly as yesterday, but it is there or thereabouts. It's at 12% now, rising slowly. If it goes above 20%, then we can certainly consider a wet race, or partially a wet race anyway. And the thing with the wet tyres, of course, is it can change strategies a lot. And Supercup is much more strategy-filled than Formula Challenge. They're longer races. And furthermore, Portimao as a circuit is a lot more strategy-filled than the other circuits around it. So Headaches for the managers, headaches for the drivers as well as the rain heads up to 17, 18. I think we are definitely going to have a partially wet race for sure. Yeah, look at that now. It's rising up. We got as high as 50 to 60% yesterday's. It's now up to 19%. Will we hit 20? There we are, 20%. So it is now wet weather. We should be seeing the blue tyres come on, which I believe will be the first time this year, actually, that we see the blue tyres on cars. Yeah, so I think everyone qualified on the options. The thing is, with this first race, another thing to remember is the drivers themselves have to use both sets of tyres available to them. So they have to use the option compound tyre, which is easier to degrade, but faster overall. And you have the prime tyre, which takes less time to degrade, but is slower overall. If wet tyres are used at any point in the race, then that's thrown out the window. You can use whatever tyres you like. And that's why I think that people who are perhaps thinking of doing a two-stop in race one might be an advantage, perhaps, because they're going to be using the option tyres. They might not be caught out. And it'll be even more interesting in race two, because if we have a start where we have a split of strategies between prime and option, and then it rains halfway through, then those guys on the options are going to be a massive advantage as well. So plenty of strategy to play out. Are we any closer to pictures, Sam?
No.
No. We're trying to get them to you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry. In fact, we'll go for a bit of radio silence to give our two boys some help to try and sort out the broadcast. We'll be back in a few minutes. Enjoy the sounds of the engines for now, anyway. Right, so we apologise to everyone for the short delay. We are going to have a little more of a delay while we're trying to sort Sim Race TV out. If nothing can be done, then nothing can be done. I do apologise. But we've just had some interesting information throughout the session about the rain, and it doesn't seem to be as intense as it was last time out. It rose up to about 25%, and it's just ever slightly dropping away now, and it has been for the last few minutes. It's dropped from 25 to now 5%, and what this has left us with is 5% online wetness, but 24% offline wetness. And so what this likely means is that if we do see the rain coming, then we might see multiple pit stops, as the wet tyre is going to be a no-brainer once we go above 20%, and still in these conditions where it's 3% online, the fact that it's 24% offline means that option tyres are still too risky. So it's going to be a very interesting and tactical race. Okay, we're going to restart the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, so please do stick with us. We'll be back in a few ticks. Okay. Right, welcome back everyone, now in glorious Technicolor. Sorry about the delay, we had to sort stuff out, but we're here, finally, for the race. We've had wetness, we forgot to go through the standings, which we will do after race 1, but we've got a very, very interesting proposition on our hands, as our race director, Chris Williamson, just takes us through the final checks.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
The R-Factor man says his stuff, and we have rain at the start. The question is, how much though? We have 24% rain, so it's going to be a wet start, Sam.
That is perfect. I can't say any more than that. That is absolutely perfect. Yep, hello guys, welcome back. Glad we managed to get that fixed. I don't know who fixed it. I think it was Lewis, so thank you to Lewis if it was. Yeah, this is it. Risto, Capit and Pole, Excella in second, Holmes, Siggy, De Vries and Muscat. That is a fantastic looking grid. And how wet is it? That's what I want to know.
It's 24% wetness, according to Lime Racers.
Definitely wet tyres then, so but the only thing is if it drops a little bit, then everyone will be switching to slick, so we can be in for an absolutely fantastic start of the race.
He throws up strategy, doesn't he? It's Risto Capit for Walk Racing on pole position. He's followed by Manu Gashella. Another strong start. This is his second time on the front row in 2 rounds now. For the Romanian in race 1. Jono Holmes, great effort from him to be up in P3 for Twitch Enterprise GP. He's followed by Kevin Siggy, P4 for Positive, the only positive on the grid. Championship leader Kevin Siggy is P5 for Satellite, with Jason Muscat, P6 for Multiforce. He's followed by Adrian McNaughton, great effort from him for Storm Racing in P7. And then we have the 2 Wouters of Dabber Jump P8, David Francis P9, and Wubke Hoekstra filling in for Christoph Schur at Zurich Racing. He rounds out the top 10. Scott Beresford starts P11, he's in for Matt Richards for TSA Racing. He's followed by a disappointed, probably Tom van der Voort for Simcraft. He's P12, Menno Klont, another disappointing qualifying. He's P13 for Satellite Racing. And then we have Philip Cullen. Will he have a good race 1? Will he have a great race 2? Who knows? He's P14 for Racing Aces PB Racing. Danny Asbury starts P15 for Street Fighter, with Rory Verzile starting P16 for Fox. We then welcome back to the racing seats Adam Rouse. He's with PB as well. P17, and then what a disappointing qualifying for Rude. He used to be 2 race wins last time out in Spain. He starts P18 here today. Nico Barkley starts P19 for Twitch Enterprise GP, with Chris Butcher filling in for Pedro Melim, the man behind him, who's moved to Simcraft. Those 2 are P20 and P21. We then have the 2 Smiles of Marcel Router and Dennis Jordan, P22 and P23. Dawei Tapper, P24, he's starting on the option. Might be a bad move that he's well out of position as well. Terence Gretsch starts P25 for Multiforce, with Sven Schubert P26 for TSA. Christoph Lichtenstein's P27 for Fox Racing, and despite a change in personnel, it's still the back row of the grid for ST Racing. Todor Pangev ahead of Mark Fuller.
Yeah, here we go.
Just a note on the wetness as well, it's gone up to 26, so I think it's definitely the wrong choice from Dawei, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't even see a drying line at the moment, so it's definitely wet tyres at this current moment in time. If we do start to see a drying line though, all the guys that can really stick to that line are really going to benefit, so watch out for that in the race as well as they come to the grid.
Strategy thrown out the window, and a Mazurek out of place as Hoekstra spins on the straight line. It's trousers down moments like these that makes you really appreciate how difficult the task is ahead for these drivers. We look now to Risto Cafe on pole. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 lights in here at the Circuit Algarve. We're racing. And it is a great start from Risto. Look at that, a great start from De Vries from 5th as well. He's already jumped Holmes, as has Siggy. But Risto Kappa with the best start there. Sven De Vries around the outside of turn 1. He's had a great start into P2. Muscat with another good start. He's up into P3. Kevin Siggy P4, and Holmes has been absolutely swamped here. Or as he's back up into P5. Tom Vandervoort from P12. He's now into P6. Great start from him as well. And we've also got lots of moving and shaking. Gashella with a terrible start. He had a terrible start last time, I remember. He's down to P7. Not too many people in grief, I don't see, as we round the hairpin for the first time. Lots of people going wide. Lots of chopping and changing throughout the field still. But overall, Risto Capis, he's got a lovely lead. And we were talking about his race crafters. Is that Sven De Vries off? Yes, he is. Off into the gravel goes Sven De Vries. Jason Muscat through to P2. Holmes up to P3. He's gone back past Siggy, who's in P4. Vandervoort 5th. And where has Sven De Vries come back on? Oh, dearie me. He's behind Rue Heespeak. He's battling away with Nico Barkley, who's gotten wide at Portimao. Don't want to go wide there. Oh my goodness, be all very close racing here at the back. But De Vries comes back out in 18th, so after a great start, down the order once again. But back up at the front. Oh, look at this now. Jason Muscat under all sorts of pressure for Holmes and Siggy. I think the fast starters might be caught out here. Oh, Muscat going wide again. I wonder if he's running low wings. But all of this is helping. Race 2 winner in the World Sports Series at Portugal just a week ago. He's race leader here at Portugal in the Supercup. It's Risto Capit. Crosses the line now from Muscat, Holmes, Siggy Vandervoort, Gashella, Jans, Francis, Hoekstra and McNaughton.
Yeah, what an absolutely incredible start. So clean as well. I can't see any wings or anything anywhere. And Risto Capit is certainly taking his pole and just started to run away with it already. A 1.8 second lead over Jason Muscat, who's currently lying in second position after that fantastic start. But yes, once again, Emmanuel Gaxella. I said I hoped that he'd worked on his starts, and whether he did or not, it certainly hasn't helped here in the rain. He just bogged down and pretty much sat in his grid spot as Kevin Siggy's defending from Tom Vandervoort, who's currently in 5th.
Bit of
There's a
bashing
whole
there.
train of them, yeah. Gaxella's trying to come back with Junt, Frantic. Once again, the two Waters Automotive guys are together on the track. But yeah, Tom Vandervoort, good start from him as well. It was really important, that was, after a poor qualifying, as it's not going to be easy to make up positions today, especially in all kinds of spray, and if we see a drying line as well, it'll make overtaking extra difficult. So good start by Tom, but he needs to push on now.
Yeah, I'm certainly surprised that we haven't seen as many, any retirements in fact. What we can tell you is that David Tapper has pitted to go onto the wet tyres now. But yeah, look at that lead from Risto Capit, 1.8 seconds at the last bit. Jason Muscat seems to be under increasing pressure from Holmes and Siggy though, especially in that second and third sector. I think it is pretty clear that Muscat's running lower wings, but surely then Holmes and Siggy have got to make the most of it while it lasts, because as the wet weather keeps on coming down, or as the wet weather does come down, as it may be the case later on in this race, it is only lap 3 of 36 of course, we could see those low wings coming into better and better effect.
Yeah, certainly, and that's definitely going to help the drivers down the straight, but they're going to have to get the position, made, really, before the first corner,
Siggy.
because the first corner, Siggy's up the inside of Jono. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jono's just going to try and hold on for the moment, but look at the amount of time that he's lost to Muscat, so was there a mistake by Jonathan there?
Perhaps. Let's have a look as Siggy goes down the inside of the hairpin, a tour of it, and I think, I thought Jono was letting him through there. Not the case. He's done a very nice outside line. I know that Lewis McGlade has been very clear that the outside line around that hairpin is in fact the better line to be on. I'm not so sure, but it certainly worked for Holmes there, who's defending nicely. This is allowing Muscat, though, to run away ever so slightly, and Siggy, I think, will be wanting to get past Holmes more than Holmes is wanting to get past Muscat at this time, since Vandervoort is in very close pursuit along with practically the rest of the grid in tow.
And here we go again, Siggy looking up the inside, not sure which turn that was, but again
Portimao at turn 10.
Yeah, Portimao, okay, turn 10. look at that, Holmes going wide again. Is he going to get a good run? No, because he's on the rumble strip and he's going to lose the position to Siggy. So Siggy now moves up into third place. Holmes is going to have a look back up the inside. There's nothing on, so Siggy retains the position. He's up into third and already starting to gap Holmes just a little bit as Tom van der Voort catches up to this train of cars as well. So Holmes, after a poor start, then had a good second lap, and now he's falling back through the field slightly. He's got lower wings, though. Look at that. He's catching up with Siggy down the straight, looking up the inside, but it's a very fast foot turn here, first corner. It's certainly not a hairpin, that's for sure, so it's very difficult to overtake into turn one. And Holmes just retains his position in fourth, but look at this train of cars that we've got behind Siggy. We've got Siggy, Holmes, Van der Voort, Gegschella, Junt, and Frančić is just a little bit back, but he's starting to catch up with this train as well.
There's almost like a will for the lead guy to get a move on. Come on, we want to escape from these guys. But as soon as someone loses a position in one of these many battles going on, we can call it a huge battle if you will, all of a sudden it's almost like the guy just loses pace. And I think part of the thing is, of course, these cars are cutting a line through the wetness. So the guys behind, yes, they're going to have understeer from the natural slipstream. They're also going to have more grip from the fact that there's simply more of the track to grip onto for the wet tyres as we head into Portimao once again. Must be said, Jason Muscat hasn't exactly escaped this lot, has he? He's a second or so ahead, but he's losing time. Hand over fist to Risto Cappi, who is really using the madness behind to his advantage. John Holmes again goes wide up at turn 12. I see David Junt has gotten past Emmanuel Gegschella now. So the Switz is up into P6, and Gegschella now finds himself as the meat within a Walters bread sandwich. Going back a couple of positions, we've got Beresford in 10th on the back of McNaughton now. We've got Font in 11th, Heesbeek up to 12th, Hoekstra down to 13th, De Vries back up into 14th, and Philip Cullen still there in 15th. I think Nico Barclay's had a bit of an off somewhere because he's down in P25 now. But all very clean racing. As you say, it's great to see such maturity from this field, and I guess it's to be expected in Supercup nowadays. It's been a really good year so far. There's been a couple of silly incidents, but really showing the great caliber of drivers that we have here. Perhaps Super League worthy, some might say.
Yeah, certainly. I think some of these guys would certainly hold their own in Super League, that's for sure. Look at that, Sven de Vries in 13th, defending from Hoekstra, going into turn 4, I believe that is. Yeah, no, turn 6, sorry, the hairpin turn 6. So
Turn
de
5.
Vries... I've got no idea. New track is too
New
hard
track
to
is
learn.
okay.
Oh,
there
Klont's
goes
gone
Bennett
wide.
Klontz off. He done what De Vries did a couple of laps ago, and De Vries is now up into P12.
Yeah, so that's good recovery by De Vries. Right, I'm looking at this. Apparently the hairpin is turn 6 on my map, so I'm going to go by my map, not what you say, James.
Right.
So
Fine.
if anyone doesn't agree with me at home, go look at a different map and find the one that I'm looking at. But yeah, Risto Capit, 2.6 second lead. He's certainly running away with this right now.
Sorry, back to P6 and P7. Gegschella and Junt have gone to battle once again. Gegschella managed to get past Junt, and here we are at the final turn. Galp, turn 14 or 15, dependent on map, of course. Gegschella back into P6. He's making a fight of this yet, and they are ever so slightly dropping Frančić, who has found himself in a bit of a world of his own as Scott Beresford has gotten past Adrian McNaughton into P9 actually behind. And actually, that's quite crucial for TSA Racing, let's not forget. They have yet to score a point this season.
Yeah, that's certainly right. TSA have certainly not been here today, or well, this whole season really. And look at that by Gegschella. He's really having to defend hard now. He can't seem to break away from David Junt, and he's losing a lot of ground to Tom van der Voort, going down into the hairpin. And Gegschella holds the wide line, but he's gone too wide on exit, and Junt's going to get a run up the inside. They're going to be side by side going through this fast left-hander into a right-hander now, and Junt makes the decision beforehand. That is unexpected, but a very good move there by Junt. So he's back up into 6th. Can he hold on to it now?
I remember Junt had a particularly good qualifying in WSS as well, and it really does show if you have pre-knowledge of this track, then you are going to really excel. And especially having raced on this version of the track won the mods of GPVWC, it's certainly shown to good effect with David Junt. As I see Ruud Heesterbeek there, Menno Klont out, he's had a problem somewhere. Ruud Heesterbeek up to 11th, he's now challenging the top 10. Look at this, he's on the back of Adrian McNaughton. As well as De Vries gone as well then. De Vries back down to 20th. I wonder if the two teammates came into contact.
I'm having a look now, and well, Klontz just lagged through my screen, so I don't know what happened to him.
Disconnection probably, I imagine.
Yes, it looks like it, and De Vries was well ahead of Junt at the time, and oh, you know what? I think he had
Oh
a
my God,
slight
Junt, sorry.
acceleration.
Junt off, he had to go at Van der Voort and he's gone off track. He's going to rejoin behind Gashela and his teammate Frančić now, the Wouters trying to attack Gashela. Look at this, Jono Holmes, Kevin Siggy, Jason Muscat, Risto Capit, all driving off into the distance now. It looks like Van der Voort starting to become the cork in the bottle.
Yeah, Wupke Hoistra just went off on the outside of turn 4 there. He's got back onto the track, but he's down into 14th position now. Danny Asbury into 15th. So he moves into the final points paying position. Yes, Holmes all by himself. Gexelet still battling away with Frančić. It's a fantastic battle for 6th, isn't it?
Two great aggressive drivers. I think Van der Voort started to gap Gashela and the ensuing Wels's automotive cars now as the three head to battle. I think it's pretty clear though that David Junt is the fastest of these dollars. Gashela goes wide there, and what's going to happen here is we head out into turn 11 and turn 12. Frančić has a look at the inside. David Junt stays well out of it. Scott Beresford joining in this battle as well. They're all going wide, aren't they? And that's another thing we have to consider here. Wet tyres have their own wearing, so a lot of these guys are just going to be winging it, to reuse the phrase again. They have no idea how these wet tyres are going to react, and what's even more interesting is the raining has only come down to 19%. It's 20% offline, but technically, if that offline can dry quickly, then we're going to be seeing some very quickly degrading wet tyres and potentially a move on to dry tyres to come later in the race.
Yeah, I've already seen Scott Beresford going onto the wet line to cool his tyres down straight as Ruud Heestebeek moves up into 10th position past Adrian McNaughton into turn 1. He's moved up. Philip Cullen went wide at turn 10 and 11. He's dropped down to 13th. And still, we get this huge battle as, Siggy's, in front of Muscat. Muscat's right behind. Holmes is right behind him,
So what happened to Siggy? Let's have a look here.
No idea.
It was a legitimate pass as well. He went up the inside of turn 3. He went a little wide, but was able to recover it enough to head up into turn 4. I think Muscat giving him a bit too much room. Siggy quite aggressive there, but Siggy up into P2. That said though, Capit, 5 seconds his lead now. He's really starting to gap the field.
Yeah, he certainly is. While everyone else is either making mistakes or just not being consistent enough or just not having the pace, Siggy is the guy, Capit is the guy who's just looking so cool and comfortable.
Look how much Muscat's struggling, Now Holmes is round to the back of him as well.
Yeah, Muscat's times at the moment, they're around the 32s. He's not doing anything slower than he was before. But I think everyone around him is just starting to pick up the pace as we can really see that dry line starting to form on the track. So this could be a critical point in the race right now.
Let's have a look here. John Holmes looks to the inside of Muscat. He's not going to try anything. We saw Junt have a go as, look how wide Muscat's going. And surely Junt will have a look up the inside here at turn 3. No, he decides to back out of it. And this is something that we know Holmes for as Muscat goes wide himself. Holmes is going to try around the outside of turn 4. Muscat covers the line well enough, but Muscat really struggling now. And look at the better traction that Holmes has. Surely he's got to have a go into the hairpin. We know Holmes isn't that fond of overtaking, but he's got to do something now. Otherwise, he's just going to lose more time to Van der Voort behind.
Yeah, but Van der Voort is defending so heavily from Gagseller. He's really holding up the pack behind him all the way back.
Oh, is that Frančić round? Oh no, Junt almost lost it. And there goes Scott Beresford around the outside. Ever so close, Scott Beresford on the inside. Can't do it though. Look at Ruud Heestebeek now. He's caught up into this battle as well. As you say, Van der Voort really.
Van der Voort's round.
Van der Voort round, and who's that off as well? It's Heestebeek. Heestebeek round. So that is a Marcel Router for Smile Power Racing. I think he qualified outside the top 20. He's now into 8th. McNaughton 9th. Cullen 10th. Beresford 11th. Hoekstra 12th. Ruud Heestebeek down to 13th. Jordan 14th. Asbury 15th. And there's Van der Vries still outside the points in 16th. What a shame though. I can't even remember who went off the track. It was Van der Voort, wasn't he? He's down to P18.
Yeah, Nico Barkley's just gone off and spun as well.
Muscat almost lost position to Holmes there, through Sagler's turn 13. Round Gulf now to turn 14. I believe it's stopped raining. It's 2% raining, 6% online, 26 offline. The only grip you're going to find on these tyres now is on the wet stuff.
Yeah,
As Muscat's in. And he's onto the options. He is onto the option tyre.
That is key, but if it rains right now, then he could be in trouble. As Gexler goes wide through turn 1, he loses the position to Yunt, and now Marcel Rauter is going to find himself right on the gearbox of Gexler. So, yes, you lose all the kind of traction, and, well, you overheat the tyres on the dry stuff, but getting onto the wet line, Yunt nearly loses it, and now he's going to have to defend from Gexler. It's still slippery on the wet stuff, and that's what people are really struggling with.
Well, that's why I'm interested to see how Muscat does, because it's still really wet offline, and we can see Muscat down in P17 almost tiptoeing round. I'm interested to see where our leaders come in now. Look at it now, it's stopped raining completely. It has stopped raining completely. It is almost a completely dry line online, but it's 26% off, so one small mistake, Sam, and you'll be flying off the road if you're on the dry stuff.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. Muscat, he's got the pace on the dry stuff. I'm watching him. He's all over the back of Mellin, but he can't make a move because as soon as he touches the wet part of the track, he's just fishtailing. Yeah, fishtailing all over the place. And he's going to have to find a way past, but it's definitely time for the dry tyre, sorry.
Cap it in. What about Siggy? Is Siggy going around again? I think he is. Oh, no, he's not. He dives in very quickly. Holmes goes round again. Very interesting. So Holmes decided the wet tyre is the best to be on. Francic, Yunt, also going round again for Wouter. So a real splitting strategy here. Look at this. There's people coming in. There's people going round again. What order this is going to come out as, I have no idea, Sam. But let's have a look now. It's completely dry online now. 25% off. Is it worth it, would you say?
Yeah, look at this, right? Jason Muscat has got past Pedro Mellin, and in his final sector, he did a 37.8. That is nearly 1.5 seconds faster than he's done around any point of this track in the final sector. But then he goes wide into turn 1, loses a bit of time, and he's actually come out, though, in front of Kevin Siggy. So it's definitely paid off for Muscat here.
Yep, I agree. And one can only imagine how much time the wet runners are going to lose now. How many have we still got on there? We've got 9, I think, from Holmes, Francic, Yunt, Beresford, Cullen, Rauter, De Vries, Asbury and Van der Voort. And they are really looking like they're going to be struggling now. Surely they have to come in now, as I think I've had a little message through from Menocons.
Oh, De Vries is round, he's on the grass, he's lost it on the infield, and he's really struggling to get back on the track. He's losing positions, he's still on the wet tyres as well. This is terrible for De Vries.
Disaster for our championship leader, Holmes. He comes round the final corner now. He's had to downshift into that final corner. Surely he comes in. Yes, he does. But then again, might he go onto the prime tyre? It's going to be a stretch, but surely that'll be enough. Let's see. Oh, Yunt and Pat. Oh, look at this, Yunt's going round again, and Francic. Someone spun to the pit lane. Look, Liechtenstein is spun on the entrance to the pit lane. Sorry, he's held up people as they come in. So let's have a look here. Yunt is our last man on the wet comment. I like Van der Voort also on the wet. Capit goes through. Muscat goes through. Siggy goes through. Holmes comes out now. He's on the prime compound. Look at that. Called it. He might make it to the end. But all right. So let's have a look. Sven Schubert has gone onto the option tyre. He is P6 for TSA Racing. Pedro Mellin, he's on the wet tyre. So let's try and figure out an order here. When everything is sorted out, it should be Capit from Muscat from Siggy. Sven Schubert for TSA Racing will be P4.
Oh, look at this. Capit is getting held up here by Tom Van der Voort, and Muscat's all over the back of him. He's going around the outside. There's contact. He's going on the inside now. Oh, there's more contact.
Oh, my word. And this is all for position, so this is legitimate. He's not holding up. As Pangem off the track there. Here comes Siggy. I don't think I've seen more Malik racing in my life. As here goes Muscat the inside. He can't do it. There's Terence Gretsch off the track for good measure as well. And a little bit of contact as Muscat desperately tries to get through. Here comes Kevin Siggy now, and Mark Fuller in there as well. It's carnage here at the circuit. Algarve Sven Schubert in there as well for good measure. Can he take the lead of the race for TSA Racing? As I say, they haven't scored a point all season as Capit finally tries to get past Van der Voort. Van der Voort goes wide. Capit's round him. Muscat's round him. And now it's left to Siggy. I think he's going to be held up here. But Muscat, by taking the early option, might have just given himself a shot at this race win, as surely Van der Voort pits now.
Schubert is looking for a podium.
Schubert is Muscat. Muscat takes the race lead. Unbelievable. Down the front straight, those wings working for Muscat. He's into the race lead now. And it's raining again.
It is.
It's raining again. Unbelievable. 6%. So surely this is going to be destroying Holmes. He wanted to try to go to the end. He's on the prime tyre now, and he's really losing ground. Kevin Siggy there, I think they're surely going to have to pit again.
It depends. It depends. If it gets back up to about 20% wetness online, then the drivers will have to come back in for the wets. Holmes is struggling because he's on the harder tyre,
Right,
and
yeah.
it's really hard to generate the heat into that tyre. And in these cool, damp conditions, he's going to be struggling for grip all over, just as Tom van der Voort still is. Unfortunately for Schubert, he hasn't managed to get past van der Voort. And now, he still hasn't. Sorry, he still hasn't got past. So he's lost ground to Siggy, Capit, and Muscat. And David Yunt is still leading this race. If it rains anymore, then you know what? I can't see a dry
David
line.
John is really in with a chance of a win here, isn't he?
I can't see a dry line, James. It's completely gone. I think it's got that wet again, hasn't it?
15% wet online.
Everyone's going to be piling in. Expect to see guys in at the end of this lap. Look at this. Muscat, Capit and Siggy are all together on track. Look at them struggling. They're hardly even able to get the power down. It's that wet.
This is just all over the place, isn't it? And Tom van der Voort, of course, who stayed on
Muscat's
the wet
in.
tyre. Muscat's in. And Capit's in. So this has really benefited Tom van der Voort then, because he stayed on the wet compound tyre, as has Pedro Melim. So Simcross, Pedro Melim in. Interesting. Is that an
Holmes
enforced
in.
pit stop?
Franchich
Holmes
in.
Yeah. So, well. Oh no, Capit stayed out along with Siggy.
Yes, they did. Both of them.
Wow. And
Jordan's
Sven
in.
Sven Schubert stayed out as well. Verzal going around again.
Butcher and Router are in. And yeah, everyone's piling into the pits. I think they realise everyone's going in now. So I think some of these guys like Capit and Siggy have left it a lap too late. And Siggy's gone wide. Capit and Siggy are still battling away. And look at Tom van der Voort. He's caught them both up and he's going to pass them both. That's how much grip he's got now on this wet surface.
This is incredible. But I wonder how much life is left in those wet tyres, Sam, because they've been on the dry stuff for quite a while now. And when you're on a dry surface, on wet tyres, it kills them.
Yeah.
Is he looking up the inside of Capit? He tries. Surely he's going to get Capit round. Yep, there we go. But this race is now in David John's hands. I think Wouters could find a win here.
Oh, Capit's off. Capit's off the track. He's gone. He's getting back on. He's lucky. Oh, and Schubert's followed him too. Lucky for him, there was a tarmac runoff there, because otherwise that could have been disastrous. He's definitely going to have to come in as well as Siggy at the end of this lap.
It's madness here at Portimao. And we're not even halfway through. David John leads by 12 seconds from Tom van der Voort. So that gap improved by 2 seconds as everyone else now comes into the pit. So Jason Muscat then. Ruud Easterby could be on the podium by the time this is all done. Actually, no, he's going to be fourth, isn't he?
I think he'll be second behind Muscat, you know.
No, because Van der Voort's on the wets. Oh, he hasn't
good
pitted
point.
yet,
Yes.
though. So let's see. Kevin Siggy's coming out. So I think actually fair. The guys on the dry tyres at this stage have not lost that much time. Here comes Siggy. Siggy's still in P3. Asbury, P4. He's still on the options. Muscat, P5. Capit, P6. Schubert still there in P7. Easterby, P8. Gashella, P9. Melim, 10th. Holmes in 11th, battling away with Franchich in 12th. Verzal coming out the pits now, P13. Butcher, 14th. Jordan, 15th. Honestly, this race order could finish up literally in any order. Our only retirement so far still Menoclont, unfortunately.
This is something that you don't see every day, do you? You either get it wet or you get it dry, or it goes from wet to dry or dry to wet, but never like this. It's yo-yoing around all over the place, and that's exactly what the race order is just like as well. So many people have led this race. So many people have gone up and down and up and down and up and down again. And David Yunt is still leading here by 12.6 seconds. He's still going around. I reckon he'll go to about the 50% mark of the race. That'll be about lap 18. Oh, it will be lap 18. And then he should pit for wets, just to get some new wets on his tyres. Although he'll have to keep monitor.
Van der Voort in, by the way. Florian Geyer tweets in, how close are you to a heart attack, James? Very close. Van der Voort comes out on the wet tyres again. Here comes Kevin Siggy. This is going to be his closest driver now. I think Van der Voort might just get out ahead of Siggy. As I think Danny Asbury, he's starting to lose ground now. Surely he's got to pit. No, he's going to keep on plugging around. Here comes Siggy. It's going to be close to Van der Voort. But no, Van der Voort's out into second. So Siggy third. Muscat fourth. Capit fifth. Schubert sixth. What a great effort from Schubert so far. As Ruud Easterby gets past Danny Asbury into eighth. Gashela ninth. Pedro Melim 10th. Francic is now past Holmes into P11 and P12. Butcher 13th. Jordan 14th. Verzile rounds out our final point score. We've got 3 lapped cars still. Unbelievable how this is all still going about. I do wonder though whether Junt has to pit soon. He's been out on those tyres for quite a long while now. As Ruud Easterbeek has gotten past Sven Schubert as well, so the Netherlands driver on the right charge.
Yeah, this has turned out to be, well, quite a good day for Easterbeek at the moment. So far, still a long way to go, of course, because he is currently in 6th, and his main rival for the championship, Sven de Vries, is all the way down in 17th after having quite a difficult day, losing positions on a number of occasions, either through off-track excursions or something that we just didn't see. But what I'm amazed about is Danny Asbury is still out on the track on the option compound tyres.
Yeah, it's astonishing, isn't it? But I tell you what, Sam, it might come back to it. The rain's come down to 19% again.
It could certainly happen then. I can't see a dry line yet, but give it a lap or two. Oh, actually, yes, I can see a dry line. Forget what I just said. I can see the dry line starting to form. It's still very faint. But in a lap or two, that's certainly going to get bolder and bolder.
But surely the success of Junt should keep everyone out this time, because they know the rain might come back.
Who knows? Who knows? It's so hard to call in these conditions. It's really just a gamble more than anything.
Oh, what I do know, though, is Francic, goodness me. He's on a right charge now. He's up into P10 past Cascello. He's right in this battle with Malim. And, of course, Danny Asbury, who's holding the whole up. He's on the options still.
Yeah, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job as well. He really shouldn't be able to hold these guys off at all, but he's doing exactly that. As Francic looks up the inside of Menem into turn 5.
They both take him, Asbury. Really close stuff. As up the top, I see Siggy battling away with Van der Voort. I don't think it's that close that far. Cab's just behind Muscat as well. He's to be signed to cash along. Sven Schubert all on his own in P7. He must be absolutely loving this, the German. But yeah, definitely the closest battle on track. I see Malim starting to pull away from this. Francis now past Cascello as you look at Holmes trying to get past Asbury. Oh, Asbury cutting him off. And my favourite track corner of all time, Craig Jones. But yeah, the conditions could yet come back to Asbury. It really is a flip-flop sort of session, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. But I tell you what, though, David Junt has got a free pit stop. He does. He can go into the pits, and he's run a bit wide, so maybe he's starting to feel it on the tyres. But I'd say for him, definitely wait a little bit longer, see if it does dry up. I can still see spots of rain on my camera, so it must still be raining a little bit out there, so it's certainly not slick conditions yet.
Actually, the rain's gone back up to 20%, so it seems to be averaging out at literally the crossover point.
Yeah, that's certainly the case.
As Kevin Siggy is past Van der Voort, sorry. Kevin Siggy is past Van der Voort, and that was through turn 3 is, oh, there's a bit of lag there on my end, sorry. It's through turn 3, through turn 4. Siggy's had some good luck there, and he's into P2.
Yeah, I was a bit distracted there, that's why I was pausing, but Siggy back up into P2. Tom Van der Voort, of course, now on to...
Oh, Sven Schubert, sorry. Sven Schubert's falling down the order. Oh, he's
no.
gone! What happened to Sven? Oh, no! Was that a disconnection? Oh! He just pulled off. Oh, it's a disconnection. Oh, Sven. So the only 2 retirements we've had all race are 2... Actually, no, I lie, sorry. David Tapper also out. Let's have a look what happened to him. He was a disconnection as well. Christoph Lichtenstein out with suspension. So we've had 3 disconnections through lag, and only one through any sort of accident. As David Junt is into the pit, he allows Nico Barclay to unlap himself, but he's back out into the lead, as you say. Plenty of time back to Siggy. But what a shame to those 3 guys who've disconnected, especially Sven.
Yeah, the worst time to disconnect when he was having the race of his life so far this season. And that's him gone. He was surely in for some points because he was holding his own and really setting a decent pace as well. He wasn't just there by complete luck. He certainly had the pace to be there in the points paying positions and potentially in a reverse grid position, which would have been fantastic for TSA Racing, I'm sure. But no, he's gone. So we're down to how many drivers is it now? We've got so many drivers that are lapped down
25.
already.
And by the way, Asbury in, and he's onto the wet tyre. He has had enough of that, and he's out the points, unfortunately.
Muscat's just moved up into third place. He's got Tom van der Voort still all over his tail, going down straight through these tight, twisty right-handers. And Tom van der Voort's looking back up the inside again, but there's nothing going there. I think that was turn 10 and 11. We go down into 12 now. You can tell I've got the right map up now. I sorted that one out. Oh no, we're at the wrong part. This is turn 10 and 11, isn't it? Yes, it is.
This is turn 10.
Right.
The entire thing is turn 10.
I've got another terrible map then. I'm being told it's 10 and 11.
Go on Wikipedia and just rule out the first corners.
Yeah, and then you have to -1 off everything, and it's so confusing.
Should have drawn a map like me.
Ah.
But I'll tell you what this battle between Muscat and Van der Voort's done. It's brought in Risto Capit again. But I mean, considering that Capit had a 5-second lead over the rest of the grid, and now he's 12 seconds behind the leader, it's incredible, isn't it? As Nico Barkley gets lapped by the leader. Once again, Junt he's in a class of his own, and he's really called the strategy well.
Yeah, Capit's looking to the outside of Tom van der Voort, going into turn 1. This is for 4th position, but Tom van der Voort breaks a bit later and actually keeps it in the track limits as well. So good effort by Tom van der Voort, holds on to 4th for the moment. But yeah, Capit hasn't got that kind of speed that he had, as he's still looking over what Tom van der Voort is doing coming out turn 4. And he's got this run now. Has he got the straight line speed? Let's have a look. Not really. Wouldn't really say he's got the straight line speed. He had a poke up the inside, but nothing doing. But yeah, Capit hasn't had the speed that he had at the start of the race, which is unfortunate for him. But he's still in a strong 5th position, just ahead of his teammate at the moment.
You join us now. You've missed out on so much that it's really hardly worth recapping. Madness is all I can say. It's lap 20 of 36 in race 1 at Portimao. David Junt leads by 10.2 seconds from Kevin Siggy, with Jason Muscat third. There's then a close battle behind with Van der Voort and Capit P4 and 5, with his teammate Capit, of course. He's to be in P6 after a poor qualifying. Melim now at Simcraft 7th, with Francis Chase. Holmes in 9th, and Gashella in P10. It's Jordan 11th, De Vries in 12th, Beresford 13th, Cullen 14th, and Chris Butcher in 15th. I think actually, to be fair, we had another retirement in the form, unfortunately, of Roy Verzeil. He's crashed out of this race. We've had 3 retirements due to this connection, 2 because of an accident. It's been great racing from most of the field so far, but best of all is David Junt, who heads into lap 21.
Yeah, I don't know if
Now
it's had... Sorry, James, I don't know if it had something to do with Adam Rouse, because he's running around the track with no nose cone at all. So he's had a very heavy impact here with something, hasn't he?
Yeah, okay, I think it was just a massive lag spike, which is worrying.
We've seen some very suspect internet connections today, haven't we? It's certainly been weird.
And we had our first red flag in a while in Spain 2 weeks ago, if you remember.
Oh, of course, when we had that, well, the whole server lagged out on the final lap, effectively.
Race 1, yeah.
Fortunately, it didn't really affect anything major, so we got away with it there and we got our full race worth, really. But yeah, that was something big. So hopefully we won't see anything like that today, especially considering the race that we've had so far. It's been absolutely incredible.
So let's look at the winners so far. Wouters for sure. They've got a car in the lead and a car in 7th. Looking good for them. Walk, really solid performance again. 5th and 6th, a great recovery from Easterweek so far. Called the strategy perfectly. Timcraft looking decent as well. Got a car in 4th, got a car in 8th. But apart from that, all the points are very much spread apart, aren't they? As I say, you can't really tell what order all these guys are going to come out. And I think the guys who are in the lower points areas or even below the points are just hoping that more and more people retire out of this race, either due to a disconnection or due to an accident of some sort, because they just want to gain as many positions as they can for a better starting position in race 2, which I remind you is 22 laps long. We could see a pit stop of just wet tyres. I mean, strategy, I thought it'd been thrown out the window before. You might as well just pick a random ball out of the bag and go whatever the number says.
Yeah, I'm just looking, sorry, at Capit, who's got round Tom van der Voort into turn 3. So Capit's now up into 4th, but Tom van der Voort's looking back on the outside, going down into turn 5, and he's actually made it stick, has he? He's going to run wide, though. No, and now Mr. B's got a chance.
Oh, he's gone, he spun. Yep, I thought I saw him. He was on the outside. That curbing is deadly in the wet, and so the two walks go through. Francic is through. Will Melim get through as well? Yes, he will. Holmes is next up the road, and Vanderbilt's really struggling for grip. It's good if you're in the groove, not so much if you're trying to get up to temperature. And yeah, he just about stays ahead of Holmes. The Vanderbilt relegated from 4th down to 9th.
Yeah, he just got a bit too excited on the throttle there coming out of the hairpin, didn't he? And that's cost Tom Vanderbilt quite a bit of time, really. About a good 12 seconds there for Tom, so that's not good for him. Holmes is right behind him in 9th after starting well, but really leaving it a little bit too late to make his pit stop onto the dries, which was the tyre to be on at the time. And Sven de Vries, look at that. Sven de Vries is back up into 11th.
So... And I remind you, the top 10 is reversed by 6 to 10 drivers. So one more place and Sven could be right in there. Actually, no, but to be fair, he is 10 seconds behind Gashella.
It's going to take a mighty effort to make that time up, especially in Supercup.
Sorry, Rude's been let through by Capit.
Was that team orders, or was it just a standard pass?
Well, Rude's the one in the championship hunt, and they're not losing any positions, are they? I mean, there's a nice clean gap back to Francic now.
Oh yeah, Capit just let off the throttle down the straight, let his speak up the inside before the corner. Yeah, standard team orders pass there.
Don't like to see it sometimes, but at other times it makes sense.
Very early in the season for team orders, but if Walk want to win with a driver in the Drivers' Championship, I guess that's what they're aiming to do from the onset.
Well, they made it very clear they've got a Super League driver in one of their seats, and they've got Risto Capit, a very, very good driver. I would say probably still Super Cup level, but a very good Super Cup driver at that in the other. They want to move up into Super League by any means necessary, and they're going the right way about it for sure. And as I say, a 4th and 5th place finish is going to do no end of wonder for their championship charge, as I think the rain's slightly letting off. No, it's not, sorry, it's gone up to 28%.
Yeah.
So the wet tyre definitely the right one to be on, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's wet until the end now.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Haven't seen any kind of dry line really forming. Just looking at the lap times of David Yunt, he's been doing about low 23s and low 32s. I can't get my numbers right, and high 31s. Compare that to Siggy, who's now starting to get into the high to mid 31s. So Siggy's actually starting to reel in Yunt a little bit. Siggy's actually done his personal best on the last lap, so he didn't really find any time when he was on the dry tyres, did he?
No. Funny, all sorts of. To be fair, they're coming through traffic, and I wonder where that's, or why that's, why that is. My words are not coming out in the right order. That's why Yunt has lost 2 seconds or so.
That is a good point.
You know, there is a lot of traffic to be going through. I mean, we've got, Barclay, Rouse, Grek in there as well.
Yeah, Todor Pangev. Todor Pangev, Terence Gretsch, Mark Fuller, Gretsch and Fuller are both 2 laps down, so not a good day for either of them. And then, of course, we've had our 5 retirements as well, who Liechtenstein also was a lapped car whilst he was still in the race. We've actually had a bit of a lull here, James, haven't we? What's going on? This isn't Supercup.
There's a nice battle for 14th and 15th. Marcel Rauter and Chris Butcher here. Maybe the lowest points available, but it's still points. I'm sure that Chris Butcher will be wanting to get more on his debut than just one.
Certainly. I'd have loved to have been in 14th or 15th at this point yesterday.
So would I. But actually, no, I was, and then I lost it all, didn't I? But yeah, it's nice to see these guys. But mind you, look at Scott Beresford. He's very close in P16, and he'll be wanting to score TSA's first point of the year, of course.
Yeah, Scott was in the top 10 earlier on in the race, whilst his teammate was also doing well for TSA Racing. TSA Racing. I can't get my abbreviations right either.
No.
But Scott's definitely fallen back as well, so I don't know if he's had a bit of trouble. As Vanderbilt and Holmes are battling into turn 1. There's actually a trade-off of positions there for a moment, but Vanderbilt remains ahead of Holmes in 8th, Holmes in 9th, respectively. So that's another good battle to look at.
It's one higher up the order as well. Good to think. Vanderbilt, we know Simcraft are very hard on their tyres, and especially on the wet tyres. This is not a good thing. But to counterbalance that, Holmes isn't exactly the most prolific overtaker. So we should have a nice juicy battle on our hands, especially if Gashella behind in P10 can catch up to the back of them.
Yeah, certainly. It certainly looks like Holmes is actually being held up because they weren't that close together a couple of laps ago, but Holmes picked up the pace a little bit, it looks like, and he's now all over the back of Tom van der Voort. It's really surprising to see, considering the start that Tom van der Voort had, and he looked like he was going to be in the top 5 for most of this race. But of course, after that spin a couple of laps ago, he hasn't really recovered from it, and perhaps he's still trying to find his feet again.
I noticed that the gap between Junt and Siggy is sort of fluctuating between the high 9 seconds and the low 10 seconds. So I think it was the traffic that let Junt down there. Behind, Muscat still strongly in third, though Heestebeek is ever catching. And the ex-Super League driver is starting to stretch his legs once again. He could continue his run of podiums. Capit's not too far behind his teammate in P5 still. Francis P6, Malim P7, and then we have the battle for P8, Tom van der Voort and Jono Holmes. Gashella rounding out the top 10. He's the last of our potential pole position sitters, if things stay as they are, of course, which no doubt they won't. As I see, Chris Butcher's had to come to the pits. Oh no, he's missing a nose. What happened to Mr. Butcher? Going back. Oh, it was a while back as well.
Been butchered.
He has been butchered, yes. Well done. I'm not sure what happened to him. He was a long way back, though. Must have been at turn 1. Either way, it means that Scott Beresford is into P15 and will be scoring a point for TSA if he makes it to the end in that position. As Jono Holmes and Van der Voort. I think, did Van der Voort go wide?
Yeah, he certainly did, and he did it at turn 8. I got that right this time.
Samsung, yeah.
Got it right. Turn 8, Tom van der Voort went wide, and Holmes just had to keep it on the racing line, and he did it. He got the position. So
Easy
Holmes,
position, yeah.
Yeah, gift really more than anything. So Holmes back into 8th position now, starting to make his way back through the field a little bit. And look at this, Gexella is only 3 seconds ahead of De Vries now. So De Vries has got a good chance of getting it back into the top 10.
Indeed he does. The battle for walk is back on. Rudy Easterbeek has lost a whole host of time, and Capit's starting to attack his own teammate now. And there's loads of traffic ahead. Potential for Capit to get one back on his teammate.
Will he really do that? I'm not too sure.
No, I don't think so either. Oh, apparently Easterbeek went off, according to our cameraman Ben, so that's why.
He's not having an easy time of it with the traffic either.
Oh,
Butcher and Rouse.
Having a right go of it, aren't they? Oh, and there goes Butcher. Having a bit of a spin up, and Capit having to go the long way around. Oh. Not making it easy, these back markers, are they?
No, Adam Rouse is just sat here on the racing line and watching him now. Right, now he starts to move out of the way. Will he let off the accelerator?
Let off the pedal. Let off the...
Ooh,
I think
he did
Adam
it really late.
With all the respect to Adam Rouse, who is, of course, a well-respected community member here, he needs to learn how to back mark again.
Oh, and he's held up Capit really badly here, and Butcher is all over the back of Capit as well.
This is diabolical back marking. Deary me, I thought everyone was being great in terms of quality of driving today, not so much. Oh, what a shame. Anyway, Capit seems to have caught back up to Heasterbeek by Heasterbeek going slightly wider, turn 13 again. But, oh, hey, look up at the front. Is that 28 to 36? 8 laps to go. The lead is now down to 7.3 seconds. Is Junt coasting? Or is Siggy on a charge?
He's pumping the lap times in. He's just done a 31.4 as Kevin Siggy. So he's really laying down the gauntlet. To be fair to Junt, he did a 31.7, which is one of his better laps in this race. Only about 2 tenths off his personal best. So Junt's trying. He is trying, but I think Siggy's just that little bit quicker at the moment.
Oh. Well, the rain has remained around 20% now. So really, 8 laps to go. I am intrigued to know how much wear is on the wet tyres of all the front runners.
Yeah, you'd have to say that Junt is probably in the best position at the moment because he pitted, of course, way later than everyone else because he stayed on the wets for so long in the first half of the race.
Arguably, those who pitted onto the wet tyres first in this latest stint are going to be at the biggest disadvantage then.
Yeah, that's certainly the case right now. So you'd have to say that Junt, Van der Voort as well.
I think Van der Voort and Junt are okay until the end now.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone in between, we are not so sure about. As there is, yet again, a big lull. Oh, Gichella's off! Gichella's off! Oh, we went wide at Samsung. We've seen it so many times, and De Vries is back up into the top 10. And oh, Smile Power Racing, the everlasting charge to get a top 10. It doesn't look like it's going to happen again today. Jens Dorden in P11. It's a great effort from him, to be fair. But he's got to defend off Gashella now for the rest of the laps.
Yeah, that is disappointment for Gigshella, who started on the front row. Again, it's another race where it's just not quite gone his way, and I'm sure he's probably not been very invited to the rain. What's going on here? Heasterbeek's got past Muscat. I've just seen Muscat's now back into fourth, although he's going up the inside into turn 3. Just about holding his own. That's actually turn 2, isn't it?
Oh, what's going on? Is Melim in the pits? Melim's in. Melim's in. He has to pit again. Muscat, he went wide on the exit of Galp.
He's on the softs. Melim is on the softs.
That's a gamble, because it's not even... Oh, it's 3%. Wow, the rain just turned off. Thank you, God.
Oh, De Vries is up the inside of Van der Voort, but he's gone wide, and Van der Voort takes a position back. This battle for 8th position as it is now. Yeah. So it's definitely time for slicks once again, isn't it?
I wouldn't say so. It's 15% online, 29% off. I think it's not worth it at this stage, surely.
Okay, no.
Especially as it's lap 29 to 36. Like, unless it goes bone dry in the last couple of laps, then surely it's not worth it. But either way, yeah, look at this battle between De Vries and Van der Voort. Dennis Jordan is in the top 10 because of Melim pitting. So could Smile Power finally have the smiles on their faces from a top 10? Ben Hackerson says P3, it's worth it. Yeah, Ruud Heasterbeek, as you say, into P3. And look at Muscat. Muscat, again, really struggling in the drying conditions. He could lose another position to Risto.
Yeah, I can tell you why.
Oh, right. Ben Axton saying soft is worth it.
Yeah,
and
here we go.
Muscat cap it in. Muscat cap it in.
Yunt stayed out. Siggy and Heasterbeek, the top 3 have stayed out, but 4th and 5th are both in. What's Francis going to do? He's going to stay out as well. Holmes, he's miles back yet. So, yeah, I was just about to say that I'm watching guys that are doing well.
Holmes got a line. Holmes in for options as well.
Yeah.
Van der Voort in. De Vries in behind. What about Dennis Jordan? Dennis Jordan also in. Oh, interesting.
This could be Capit's race to win, you know. If he can get a good outlap here, him and Muscat, if they can get a good outlap, they could really gain on these leaders now.
Oh, Capit goes wide though. Muscat up the inside, almost contact. Muscat takes. Risto Capit. It's still on. And there goes Melim. Look, Melim on the options. It's worked perfectly for him. And so we have to try and sort out this order. So the wet option guys, the wet compound guys at the front now are Yunt, Siggy, Heasterbeek, and Francic. And Scott Beresford's in there as well. And then it's Muscat, Capit, Melim, Holmes, Van der Voort now on the option tyres. Let's look to David Yunt and see what he does. It's that 30 of 36. Oh, Yunt goes wide. Oh my goodness me, Yunt goes very wide. That's going to lose him a lot of time. He's staying out. He's pushing to the end. Siggy. He's going to get unlapped by Danny Asprey here. Goodness me. So Siggy stays out. What about
Heasterbeek's in?
Heasterbeek's in. Now we see what the option guys do as Francic. I think he's got a line in as well. Francic pits as well. So here comes I think Muscat's too far behind, to be fair.
He's too far behind for Heasterbeek, isn't he? Heasterbeek's surely easily going to come back out. Although he's got a long pit stop here for Ruud Heasterbeek. This is taking forever, isn't it?
Let's have a look. He's out now. He's got quite a short run to the end of the pit lane. Here comes Muscat. Oh, he's well ahead of Muscat, surely.
No, Muscat's... yeah.
Here comes Muscat now. Muscat will have the tyres up to temperature. Oh, Muscat ran outside! Oh, Muscat, what a move! Great job from the Maltese driver. He forces Heasterbeek off the podium again. Capit 5th. Francic back out into 6th. Beresford's going to try and hold it on until the end, I think, on the wet tyres in 7th. Melim 8th. Holmes 9th. Losing hand over fist time to Van der Voort, though he got on the wet stuff, Van der Voort, so that's going to be 4th for him. Sven de Vries back outside the top 10, though. He's going to need Scott Beresford to pit to get back in there, I think.
Yeah. This is going to be crucial now. I'm just watching David Yunt. His lap times have dropped to a 33.1, so he's losing about 1.2 seconds compared to what he was doing beforehand. And Siggy's actually caught up to him. He's only 2 seconds behind. Suddenly, Siggy looks like he could win this race. Although, wait, is Yunt going in?
Yunt's in.
Siggy stays out.
I've also seen, Van der Voort's gotten past Holmes for P9 and P10. This is all crucial for the final, or for the reverse grid in race 2. Melim past Scott Beresford for P7, and Melim spun! And Scott Beresford goes back through. Melim loses a bit of time. He might lose time to Van der Voort and Holmes. He tries to get back on the dry stuff. Simcraft v Simcraft. And does Tom Vandervoort go up the inside? Yes, he does. Milim will try and cut back in to cover off Holmes. And
Vandervoort's new
Vandervoort!
spun.
Oh my word, they're all on the wet
Free
stuff.
wide.
And Holmes is in the middle. Oh my word, it's a turn 13. All very close. Milim, though, he loses 2 positions from that as Jono Holmes just about squeezes past. Ever so close. David Junt, though, he's back out into the lead ahead of Muscat. Only just, though, look how close Muscat is. I think Kevin Siggy, he's pretty much committed to the end now, unless something goes horribly wrong.
But look at that, he's already lost so much time, has Siggy. Siggy's done a 32.9.
Oh, sorry, Muscat passed Junt. Muscat passed Junt.
Oh, wow. Muscat is 6 seconds per lap quicker than Kevin Siggy. You know what? It's going to come down to either the last lap or the lap before. I think it's going to be that close.
He lost 2 seconds in that sector alone, Siggy. So let's see, it's lap 32. They will be going on to lap 33. So
Muscat's
surely...
gone wide, though. Muscat's gone wide. And Junt's actually back up around the outside. And he's taking a position.
What a move from David Junt. And here comes Ruud Easterbeek as well. He's not giving up on the podium yet. Wetness update. It is 0% online, 25% off. I think what Kevin Siggy is praying to the rain gods for now is, please give me a bit more sprinkle. I need just a little bit more to go to the end here as Muscat goes onto the wet stuff in an attempt to overtake David Junt. Look at those wings in effect. Jason Muscat, the Adonis Engineering driver of last year, bringing his knowledge to Multiforce. He's back up into P2.
Yeah, he's made the position again, but he's got to keep it on this dry line. It's really, really visible now. You'll be able to see it on the broadcast, and the cars have to stay in here on these tracks like they're a train or a tram or whatever you want to call it, because as soon as you touch the wet stuff, you've got absolutely zero grip, especially on these slick tyres, and the car will just slide wide and spin. You won't be able to get the power down at all. So this is critical now for Muscat, who's now 18 seconds behind Kevin Siggy, so the gap is still falling.
I mean, someone who's on a real charge is Sven de Vries. Look at this, he's past Pedro Melim, back up into 9th, and it's almost like he's cruising up to the back of Jonathan Holmes now. So Sven de Vries, I tell you what, if the lucky number is number 8, which that position has changed about so many times today, I think nobody could predict who would be in that slot by the end of this race. Sven de Vries could be a very lucky boy in starting on pole position in race 2.
He certainly could be, but he's still going to lose out to Ruud Easterbeek in the championship if it stays the way it is at the moment. Looking at the...
Sven around the outside, sorry, of Craig Jones. I think John had to let off the pedal for that. Sven de Vries up into 8, sorry.
Yeah, no problem, absolutely no problem at all. I completely missed that. But yeah, Sven up into 8th, and how fast Tom Vandervoort? Only 2 seconds down the road, so Sven could make up at least one more position here. Frančić might be a little bit too far away before the end of this race. This battle for second, which could actually be the battle for the win, is still right there. Junt is not falling away from Muscat.
No, he isn't. 13 seconds the gap on lap 34 of 36. 11.8 seconds the gap on lap 34 of 36. It is going to be a going to the line thing. As I say, Kevin Siggy must be praying for rain. It doesn't matter whether you're religious or not. As David Junt loses, he was in battle with Ruud Easterbeek. Look at this battle for second. Goodness me, they're all so close. I think Junt just about held on to P3 there, but I think Muscat's potentially holding up Junt now. Look at this. Junt's found pace all over again.
I think it's took him time.
Look at the gap to Siggy as well. 8.3 seconds. We could have a four-way battle for the lead by the end of this.
Yeah, what's going to be crazy, it's going to be about who can get past Siggy first, isn't it? I think that's who's going to win the race, is whoever can pass him at their first attempt. And Muscat's surely going to have the chance, because Junt's just run a little bit wide and he lost a little bit of time, but no, he's coming back to Muscat once again. So Muscat is struggling, even though he's far quicker than Siggy.
Siggy goes on to lap 35 of 36, the penultimate lap of this race. Muscat is 4.9 seconds behind as Ruud Easterbeek looking for a move down the inside of David Junt. He's on the wet stuff though. Will he go wide? He has to brake earlier, and Junt keeps onto the position for now. But at that rate, Muscat will be closing in on Siggy by the end of this lap. Oh, Siggy's done ever so well, and I think he's still got a top 5 in him. But oh my word, what a race finish. Look, Kevin Siggy is within viewing distance of Jason Muscat. He can smell the win. He can see the win. What a finish to Portimao race 1. This is only race 1. What a finish we have on the cards here.
Muscat knows this is his chance. This is his chance to win. All he's got to do is get past Kevin Siggy, and you can literally see him right now. Kevin Siggy's got so much understeer. He can't get the car turned into the corners at all. Oh, here we go. Muscat looking around the outside already.
Surely the move's got to be done and dusted by. It's all bunching up those 4 now, isn't it? Who will win this race? As you say, it's who gets past Kevin Siggy first, who's going to get the most of it. Muscat takes the opportunity and he's through on the lead. Jason Muscat takes the lead of Portugal race 1. Siggy comes back and Muscat good avoiding action. Now Yunt up the inside. He's gone past as well. He's on the wet stuff, but he's through, and Siggy now forced wide. He loses 3rd place to Isamiga, and that's the podium gone for Siggy. Though that said, I think he should still be in with a top 5 for sure.
Yeah, I think he'll lose out to Capit in a moment or two.
Oh, because Easterbeek's on Yunt for P2, and Easterbeek's got it. So, and Yunt a little bit spicy off the exit there, T1. Looking at Muscat, though, he's looking to just run, leg it up the road. It could be his first race win here.
It could be.
In Supercup this year, I should say.
Yeah, Easterbeek is getting loose coming out of turn 4 as the car goes light over the brow of the hill. Easterbeek somehow holds onto it though, but Yunt is not giving up yet. He may have lost his chance to win after leading so much of this race in such a dominant fashion as well. Unfortunately, he might have to settle for a podium here today, which is going to be gutting for him in one way, but a good result in another sense as well. But yeah, can Easterbeek catch Muscat? I think he can't.
No, I think Muscat's got this, you know. Still, nevertheless, 20 points to Easterbeek. How many is it to Sven? 8. And this is what? The 15th second in a row for Easterbeek as well?
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, I mean, to be fair, you can't blame him. He's had a fantastic drive back through the field, considering a terrible qualifying that he did have. But rounding the second to last and final corners now come the front 3 has been an epic race of epic proportions, not precautions. It should have been precautions, though, as it was wet all the way. Jason Muscat, though, he takes his first race win of the year for Multiforce GP. It's their second win in 2 years. Ruud Easterbeek second, David Junt with a podium in race 1. Risto Capit makes a walk racing 2 for Kevin Siggy on the wet tyres to the end. He comes down in a fantastic P5 considering. David Francic comes home P6. Tom Vandervoort will come home P7. Sven de Vries, after a terrible start, he had a great start and then a terrible start to the race. He comes home P8 with Jono Holmes P9. Emmanuel Gashella comes home P10. And remember, the reverse grid contenders there are Francic, Vandervoort, Dries Holmes and Gashella. Malim on his debut for Simcraft comes in P11 with Dennis Jordan P12. Marcel Rauter, well, is he going to be P13? I'm not so sure. He's in battle with Beresford and Cullen here. Across the line, who's going to get it? I think Beresford might just have it. No, by milliseconds. It was a dead heat. Dead heat. Marcel Rauter by milliseconds takes 13th. Scott Beresford scores TSA's first points of the year in P14. And Philip Cullen, he takes the final point for Racing Aces PB. Your retirements from this race, were Chris Butcher, Todor Pangev, Terence Grek, Roy Verzile, Sven Schubert, David Tapper, Christoph Lichtenstein, and Menno Klont.
Yeah, can you believe that? Only 21 finishes. That is quite a record low for Supercup. You don't usually see that many guys not being able to finish a race, and also only 17 people were on the lead lap at the very end. That's how tough it was today. It was a really, really hard race, and I think all the guys that scored points deserved those points as well, because they kept it on the track and well, most of the time, and kept it clean. And well, what can you say though? Jason Muscat winning by a second in the end, but that last lap looked comfortable for him. And it's hard to say who did and did not deserve the win today, because there were so many people having outstanding performances. I really thought that David Yunt was going to get the win. He was leading for so long, leading by 40 seconds at one point. That's how big his lead was. But unfortunately for him, perhaps he stayed out for maybe a lap or two too long on the wet tyres, and eventually lost the position to Muscat, who moved into second place. And of course then Muscat pounced and overtook Siggy right at the death to take the win here, and he did it with style. So good effort by Muscat. for Malta Force. Also good effort for Waters Automotive on a 3-6. That's a very good performance by them, and a good haul of points for them in the team's championship as well.
Still got another race to go. All the more exciting. Yeah, I think everyone agrees that was a great race to watch, and it's proof that Portimao does produce great racing. I think doesn't matter whether you like it or not as a track. That racing was epic and, more importantly, clean, because I didn't see any poor bits of contact there at all.
I think now there wasn't anything huge, was there? There was no incident where a guy dive bombed and completely wiped out an
It was
opponent.
either their own fault or a disconnection that saw most of the retirements, if not all of them.
Yeah, or just getting caught up in someone else's spin, which, you know, is just bad luck at the end of the day. It's not the guy's fault who spun it, it's not the guy's fault who hit him. It's just one of those things. So, yeah, good, pretty clean race. I don't know if everyone will be saying that at the end in the forum, because, of course, there's someone who's always not too happy with the actions of another, but that's racing, and that's what you've got to expect. But I have been surprised, I have to admit, I have to agree with you as well, James, about this Portimao track. I thought we were going to be in for a race where people wouldn't really overtake, because it just doesn't look like an overtaking track, really. There's no characteristic about it that says where you can overtake, apart from the run down to turn 5, and the run down to turn 5 isn't exactly long either. So, a really surprisingly good race. Very exciting. I hope you guys at home enjoyed it as much as we did. And I can't wait.
Sorry, I'm just going to say, I've got loads of messages through from a couple of the drivers like, this track's awful, this track's terrible. Not from the spectator's point of view at all. It's great. I think it's similar. I think it's probably similar best to Istanbul Park.
No.
That's another one where loads of people. You like it though.
I love Istanbul. Absolutely love the track.
I hate Istanbul. Awful track.
It's
great to watch racing at.
I think Istanbul is one of the best tracks ever designed. I think it's that good. This track, no, I don't think so. But
we got our reverse grid number, by the way, and it's number 10.
You know, I was going to call that. I'm sorry, I completely forgot, because I was going to call that. You know why? Because Jonathan Holmes always starts in second position on a reverse grid.
Oh, so you knew it, did you?
Yeah, I did.
It's going to be Michelle Holmes on the front row, though. So they started second and third in race 1. You're going to start 1-2 in race 2.
I'm not surprised. That's going to be good, though, because I really want to see Michelle get a good start. I want to see him get a good start and see what he can do when he's actually not bogged down and back in the lower end of the top 10. So that's going to be interesting. And, of course, we've got De Vries then getting a decent starting position, and we know how lightning fast he is on the starts. I'd say he's one of the best starters in the league for definite. And then you have the likes of Siggy and Capit, and of course Heasterbeek. Who can forget Heasterbeek, who are going to have to battle their way through to catch up with the likes of Gexella and De Vries in what will be a shorter race in race 1, of course, as well.
22 laps.
And who knows, that's more than plenty of time for the weather to get involved as well, isn't it?
It is indeed. Shout out to Ben Horrell, who called Muscat or Davidjunk for a race win, which will end in the dry 34 minutes ago. So well done to you, Ben, out there, for correctly predicting somewhat the race winner. So Portimao in race 2, we know that the wear in dry conditions anyway is similar to Spain. But one would argue, why would anyone want to start on the primes if there's a threat of rain?
That's a good point, but what's the threat of rain going to be like? It's really hard to call, isn't it? And considering how dry the track got at the end of race 1, perhaps that will continue on to race 2, and we could have an all dry race 2. We haven't actually seen a dry race yet this week so far, have we?
No, absolutely right. It did not go dry fully last race. Must be said as well, we had a race starting in the wet in race 1 as well. So we might not have a choice. But anyway, I believe with that result, if I go and have a little check on the championship standings now, so Ruud Heasterbeek has taken the lead of the championship now by 4 points.
Still pretty close then, yeah.
Still pretty close, yeah, I agree.
And that's also good for Walk in terms of the Teams Championship as well, because of course both their drivers outscored Sven de Vries, and Menno Klant unfortunately had that disconnect, so it's a big blow for Simcraft. Satellite. Too many S's. Right. Yeah.
Sorry, the run that Ruud Heesterbeek was on, this is what I wanted to get up. Apart from that double retirement in the first race at Australia, first, second. So I'm predicting Ruud Heesterbeek to be first or second in race 2 as well.
Is that going to become a predictable prediction of the
season?
Can
you smell the spite in my voice? A lot of people have picked up on this. Like, I just think he's got the championship in the bag, because you can see it in the way he drove. I said he had a fantastic drive in race 1 from P18, P18 or P19, wasn't it? Still finished second. He's got better racecraft than a lot of people around him. He's faster than a lot of people around him. And he's got a lot more experience sim racing than a lot of people around him. And that's why he's going to win. He has luck going his way as well. Like, as I say, apart from those 2 retirements, he's hardly encountered any resistance whatsoever. Hell, his own teammate will move out the way for him at this early stage in the championship. So what's to say that he won't finish first or second in every race until the end of the season?
Well, that might be the case. That might not be the case. I wouldn't call Ruud Heesterbeek a god by any means.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, he got beat by Lucas Euler in a Super League, didn't he?
Yeah, of course. And he has featured in other leagues as well, and not really performed in them. Not going to name any situations.
He's been good, but not as great in open seaters or open wheelers. Sorry.
Yeah, he's not the finished product. I think if he wins the championship, he'll win it because he's deserved it, and he'll prove that he'll prove that he is good at what he does in this league. But I can't call that he'll win the league yet, because just looking at Australia, it was an awful performance, really, and that could easily happen once again at any point in this championship, and he could lose all this confidence, because he's certainly on quite a lot of momentum. He's got a real roll of momentum going along with him at the moment, and momentum is a key thing in any kind of competitive situation. So if he was to lose that, have a bad race here or in 2 weeks' time, then it could all turn on its head. I wouldn't call this championship finished yet by any means.
What we can try and predict, though, for sure, is the race 2 winner. And we're just about to have the grid come up in full, so you can make an informed choice, of course. But I'm going to be interested to see how it starts as well, whether we'll have rain at the start, because I think perhaps that's something that threw Geschella off. Maybe he has practiced his starts for the dry, but it ended up starting wet.
Yeah, that's a good point, but still, he has yet to prove that he can do a decent start this season, which is disappointing for him. But if we're calling out who we think are going to win this race 2, I'm going to call it early and say Sven de Vries. I think he'll have a good start. He'll get into the lead by the end of lap 1. And barring any kind of crazy weather situations where it just makes it unpredictable anyway, I think
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Let's have a look at the grid.
Let's have a look at the weather.
Dry.
Dry.
Or is it dry? Just have my live races, yeah, but I'm going to go for Heesterbeek. You're going to go for a Thingamajiggy. Sven de Vries.
Yeah.
He would hate me calling him Thingamajiggy as well. Sven, we'll give you your due respects. Oh, lovely. It's Live Racers decided to break on me. Thank you very much, Live Racers. Looks relatively dry to me. And, oh, look at this.
Tyres.
Mix of tyres. So Emmanuel Geschella, he's going to be going for a pit stop. Option tyres for him. Jono Holmes feels that he can go all the way on the prime tyres, which is funny because that's not the strategy we actually discussed. So he's decided against that option. Sven de Vries also on primes. Tom van der Voort on primes, interestingly. Francic on options. Siggy on options. Sorry, Siggy on primes. Capit primes. Junt options. Easterbeek prime. Muscat option. Malim, Jordan, Router, Beresford, Cullen prime. Asbury option. Hoekstra prime. Then we have a whole bunch of options here. McNaughton, Rouse, Barclay, Fuller, Butcher option. Pangev Prime. Grek and Verzile options. And we have... Oh no, there we are. There's more people to come. Tapper Prime. Liechtenstein option. Klont option. I think we have lost another driver, unfortunately. I think Sven Schubert has not returned, unfortunately. Which, to be fair, I can imagine him rage quitting after such, such a good performance, and then to disconnect like that, it's very harsh on him. But yeah, a real split in the field once again, and a lot of people seemingly throwing caution to the wind. I mean, my thoughts. I'd start on options.
Well, I think we all remember what happened in Catalonia, and I think this is just going to reiterate what I said there as well, that Prime in a race like this where it's so close between, making it on one stint it's quite clear that you can only do stint on Prime and you have to do 2 stints of options to finish this race on the option tyre. And I just think the lack of people on options today, it's going to make it even easier for the Prime compound drivers to be able to be competitive and win this race.
What if it rains?
So, if it rains, then it's all out the bag, and then everything's just going to kick off, isn't it? And then it's a free-for-all. But if it remains dry, we're going to see a Prime compound driver, namely Sven de Vries, win this race.
Or Holmes or Van der Voort. Or
Yes.
Siggy or Capit, or Heasterbeek indeed. It's not often you get a second bite of the cherry in one race evening, but that's what Emmanuel Geschella has. Can he get a better start in the dry conditions? Let's find out, shall we? Race 2 is about to begin with 3, 4, and 5 lights. And here for the second time, we're racing. And he does not get a decent start. Holmes straight into the lead. Mind you, it was a better start than race 1 at least. So Holmes into turn 1. He takes the race lead from Geschella. Van der Voort with a good start. De Vries didn't actually have that good a launch. And he's already under all sorts of pressure from Capit as Van der Voort goes up the inside of Geschella. I'm wondering whether the prime tyres have just gone up to temperatures. Van der Voort around the outside of turn 4. What a launch from Tom there. And the front 3 are already starting to stream away. Is Van der Voort? Oh, Van der Voort, what the hell are you doing? Deary me. And he's knocked Holmes down to 4th, unfortunately. Sven de Vries, who has actually had a good launch initially, he's up into P3. What poor driving from Van der Voort, though. It doesn't matter who you're involved with. That was disgusting driving. Francis up into 5th. He's had a good start. Capit down to 6th, actually. Malim 7th, Asbury with a blinder up into 8th, Heasterbeek 9th, and Cullen also with a blinder up into 10th. Kevin Siggy's actually had a terrible start. He's down to P13, and in terms of people, I don't think anybody's had a mare, to be honest. Oh, David Junt! Oh, David Junt's down to P27, so he's had a terrible start, our podium man from race 1. But here we go, rounding Sagley now at turn 13. I noticed Francis has actually gotten past Jono Holmes as well, who's no doubt picked up damage from that initial contact with Tom Van der Voort. But round the final corner, Emmanuel Geschella leads from Van der Voort to Vries. Francis, Holmes, Capit, Malim, Asbury, Heasterbeek, Muscat. Though I think Capit's going to have a go at Holmes into turn 1, surely. He's 6 behind him, He looks out to the inside. Holmes gives him enough room, but Capit does not get the move done.
No, I think, here we go, Capit once again. Before I give my summation, and Heasterbeek's actually trying to look at the inside of Asbury, so Danny Asbury's had a great start as well. He's up into 8th place at the moment. Of course, he's on the option tyres as well, so we should see him, cut through some of these these drivers on the prime tyres who are going to have much less speed than him around some of these colours, a lot less grip. But yeah, after we praised the drivers for the race 1, where we didn't really see any dive bombs, it took us until turn 5 to see a dive bomb.
And it's a Simcraft again in the controversy. They've been sort of bemoaned for their poor driving standards in all 3 events so far, and once again it's a Simcraft in the mix.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't really care to discuss what they've done in the previous ones.
You're not interested in the politics.
No, that's not. I don't read it. I don't pay attention. So I'm just about the driving. But yeah, it wasn't the best of moves by Tom Van der Voort there, and unfortunately for Jonathan Holmes, it looks like he's maybe sustained a bit of damage. Although he's held his own now in 5th position, so we'll see how he gets on. But Tom's yep. Got 2nd. He's going to lose out to Francis here. Going into turn 1, Francis is up the inside. This is not a surprise already. Francis is on a way grippier tyre at the moment, yeah. The French
As
should
all.
take off.
Sorry, Capit around the outside of Holmes. You were saying he's hold on. Nope, Capit's got that position. Nice. That's a good move from Capit. Nice and clean. He's up into P5. Jono down to P6. Behind, there's a great scrap going on between Malim and Asprey. Asprey's also on the option tyre, and he's desperately trying to get past Malim. A P7 here into the hairpin, and he's got it. But look at this little scrap there. There's about 6 cars there involved, all the way down to Kevin Siggy in P13.
Yeah, great little scrap here. So Danny Asprey coming through on the option tyres. You've also got Chris Butcher and Jason Muscat on the option tyres as well. So Butcher, what a start he's had to be up in 9th position.
From the back of the grid.
Yeah, that's incredible. I don't know how he's managed to do that, but good effort nonetheless. And
All sorts of pressure from Muscat though.
Yeah, who certainly hasn't had a good start considering he's won the race, started in 10th and retains his 10th position on the option compound tyres as well. This is not working out for his strategy at all.
Emmanuel Gachella leads by 1.9 seconds from David Francis. The two of them on an option compound strategy. A lot of the field on a prime compound strategy as I see the next option runner down, Danny Asprey. Now, oh my word, look at this train, it's almost 4 wide going into turn 1. I tell you what, if I was Jono Holmes, oh my word.
Oh, Melim's off.
Yeah, Melim's off. That was always going to happen with that amount of cars in one space, but Asprey trying desperately to get through this field now. Jono Holmes really starting to hold him up. Desperate to get past.
Yeah, I'm just looking back at this incident now. He tried to look up the inside of Danny Asprey, touched the back of Muscat, and Butcher just clipped him on the way through turn 1. So, unfortunately, it looks like I call that a racing incident there. Definitely not Melim's fault. Butcher probably didn't really have anywhere to go, considering how close the battling was. But that's Butcher up into 9th, Muscat 8th. Holmes is just trying to hold on at the moment. He's probably
really lost pace again.
He would do best though to let these guys through because they're all on a way grippier tyre, and then the guys behind him are mainly on the primes, so he doesn't really have to worry about them hounding him too much.
First retirement of the day comes in first retirement of the race I should say, Christoph Lichtenstein unfortunately out with suspension damage. That's his second retirement of the day. But yeah, let's see, so Holmes is gapped back to the next prime compound runner, which is Ruud Hiesebeek. About 2 seconds, so maybe it is best to let the option tyre runners through. They're surely going to have a good run here. As Muscat and Butcher look to the inside of Holmes, he must be pretty scared. There's Hiesebeek as well, trying to get some form of slipstream. I don't see this ending well. Muscat through and Butcher through. And the 2 second gappers gone. As Holmes back through on Muscat. Oh, slight touch. Everyone in good order though. But Holmes, he's just lost all pace.
Yeah, he's just got to, calm down now. He's got a clean track in front of him because these guys are going to take off now. And that'll leave, we say that and Butcher goes wide. So not quite the clean track just yet, but these guys should scarper away. And then Holmes will have a bit of breathing room, and that's where he can really calm down. And come on, James, it's not the end of the world. Let's keep upbeat about it.
And that's Muscat as well. So did they spin each other? Let's have a look here. So the 2 options, there is clean space ahead now. Sorry, completely missed that. Oh yeah, no, Butcher spun Muscat, completely Butcher's fault, unfortunately. And that great start nullified, unfortunately.
There's an absolute gaggle of cars here. We've got Jordan Muscat.
Adam Rousey to 11th. And Barkley up from the back of the grid. Though, mind you, those are on option strategy, so they'll both have to pit. Oh no, that's ahead of them, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm looking at the gaggle now, my goodness me. Gunt's recovering, of course, from his early off. So many different strategies. Oh, Jan's up the inside! Oh, my word. Do not want to be part of this racing, let me tell you that now.
Muscat having to run wide, coming out the final corner as well. And he's going to lose it down straight because here comes Philip Cullen. And Jan's going to have a look. Muscat's going to remain on the outside. It's so hard to know where to look in this battle because we've got guys battling behind him as well. And Jordan's actually lost out to both Yunt and Muscat. Here comes Cullen up the inside. I think someone went wide there. It is Chris Butcher, so more positions lost by Chris, so it's not been a good couple of laps for him as Jordan's starting to slip back as well as here comes Cullen and the recovering Melim as well.
Yeah, indeed, very interesting racing so far with incidents galore. It's a far cry from last time out. I think Frančić has made a slight mistake because he was 1.9 behind Gachella. That gap's now gone up to 3.6, but remember, we're probably expecting the option runners in around lap 11 to lap 14 or 15. So we've got about 10 laps or so, just under 10 laps to go before these guys are in. They've got to try to extend the gap as much as possible to Tom van der Voort, who's still within 5 seconds, remember. Him and Sven de Vries looking very good. Here comes Danny Asby. We completely forgot about him, didn't we? He's challenging for P4 now on the option tyres. Surely it's going to be worth Sven letting him through, I'd imagine.
You'd think so, but he's in a battle of his own right now, because this is surely going to be the battle for the lead between Tom van der Voort and Sven de Vries. He's about 2 seconds behind Tom is Sven de Vries right now. So he's got to keep that gap there or thereabouts, because I have a feeling that Tom's probably going to start to lose his tyres before Sven does by the end of this race. And that could be the key between the two for the fight for the win that we're surely and hopefully going to see. As Holmes is slipping back more and more now, because Nico Barkley, his own teammate, is up into 8th place. So the option tyres are working well for Nico. And Adam Rouse as well. Scott Beresford for TSA. Oh no, he's on the primes, isn't he? So that's actually just decent effort by Scott. But yeah, these option guys are all going to disappear, aren't they, in a few laps?
Yeah.
Can't see them coming back through either.
Well, I mean, we've got to remember, there is going to be a 20-second pit stop that the option guys will have to take. As, Kevin Siggy with the inside of Holmes, and that's a nice late mover from Siggy. But Holmes just about holds on, I think. Yes, he does. He's in a battle with him, sir. And Muscat, Muscat's still on the option. Remember, he had that spin. He's caught back up to these guys now. Right gaggle of cars. Holmes just holding up everybody.
Yeah, he's certainly not the well-liked guy at the moment, because he's ruining a lot of these option compound drivers' races. Nico Barkley and Adam Rouse have got past, as I believe Capit's actually just got past Sven de Vries. So what's happened to Sven de Vries?
He's had an off somewhere. Let's have a little look. Oh no, so he's just fallen back. That's just pure pace from Capit.
But he's lost about a second over. He's lost a second to Van der Voort. So yeah, I guess those 2 positions that Sven lost also cost him a bit of time as well. Yeah, that's incredible.
No sign of rain yet. Called that one.
Is it? Well, you can't really tell for there's no percentage chances.
Well,
at the moment.
it's. I can see the skies and they're grey, but it didn't start wet either. So it's we have got a dry race fine near Portimao. Well, so far anyway. Lap 8 of 22. Things have really just quietened down, I guess. The closest battle, if anything. Look at this, Nico Barkley and Adam Rouse. 2 chargers from the back of the grid on the alternate strategy. He's starting to catch up to Ruud Heasterbeek now. That'll be one to put on the resume.
To overtake Ruud Heasterbeek. Yep, I'd certainly like to do that. Oh, look at that by Nico Barkley. He's having to defend a little bit from Rouse as they come through the final corner. Let's see what their straight line speed is going to be like in comparison to Heasterbeek. Coming down the straight, and you can definitely see that.
Yet.
No, Barkley's certainly getting there. He's not too far away, but no, wisely doesn't do anything silly, and just stays where he is at the moment. He's coming a bit sandwiched in. Oh, he's gone wide. Oh,
has he disconnected, perhaps?
I think so.
Oh wait, yeah. Oh, what a shame for Barkley, out the race with a disconnection. That's another disconnection. I mean, it's been lagging for me all race. It's got to be the server.
I've been okay. I can't say I've struggled with anything. It's been fine for me. But yeah, we have seen quite a few today, and it's not like everyone's suddenly gone back to AOL dial-up or anything.
No.
Something weird's going on, I'd say. But hopefully it doesn't strike again in this race, and we don't lose any major players, of course, because the likes of Gaxella, who is still holding a 5-second lead at the moment. He's going to pit, though, in about 3 laps' time. And at the moment, he'd come out in about 10th position. Although a little bit lower, considering the amount of cars. So it would be a real battle for him, whether he does come out. But he'll still be near enough to the points. And, of course, he'll then have, again, the pace advantage over the guys in front of him. So we could actually see Emmanuel Gaxella charging through the field to catch up and potentially get a podium. I could see him get a podium at the moment.
I can see him potentially challenging for the win at this rate. He's lightning quick. His closest guy to worry about is Tom Vandervoort. He's just gone wide. Remember, the prime compound tyres are going to be really going off near the end of the race. Danny Asbury there in P4. He's just catching up to the back of Tom Vandervoort, actually. So he's going to be causing even more trouble for the Netherlands driver. Capper there in 5th, De Vries 6th. Rouse in 7th now, continuing his charge. He's to be 8th. Junt back up into 9th. Verzeil into 10th. Then we have Siggy 11th, Muscat 12th, Holmes now down to 13th as we have a third retirement of the day. Pedro Melim, another DNF. Is that another disconnection? That's another disconnection. Yeah. It's got to be server side. Because it's not even like a regular disconnection where we see, like if we see a car flying off into the wall and way past everyone, fair enough. But these drivers have just sort of gone in a straight line, gone. Out of the race they go. Sure, it's a server issue, and it's going laggy for me again.
No, whatever you're seeing, I'm definitely not seeing. So that's very strange to see. As Danny Asbury, though, is looking up the inside of Tom Vandervoort, going towards turn 1. This is going to be for 3rd place. Danny Asbury sticks up the inside. Tom Vandervoort wisely lets him go, although he's looking back up the inside.
Why fight? Why fight?
I think he does think better of it by the time he does get to turn 3. Turns his head back on. That says, right, go on then, you've got the faster tyres, go away. I'll be ahead of you anyway in a couple of laps' time, or actually probably about one more lap before we see all the leaders, the top 3, will probably start to make their pit stops.
As I see, sorry, Verzeil's just made a mistake, sorry. He's lost position to Siggy and Holmes, almost lost position to Cullen as well. So his option tyre charge through the field isn't going as well. But of course, the option tyre runners making mistakes like that is even more pain for the prime compound runners. Because, you know, they've already let them pass once, so they don't want to let them through again.
Yeah, it's frustrating either way. It's frustrating for the guy that's trying to pass. It's frustrating for the guy that has to kind of ease off a little bit and let the other guy through. Because there really isn't any point in fighting at all. It's very pointless at the moment in time, and really we can only say that there's 3 guys on the options that are but benefiting at the moment. I don't know what's going on the track. I can't actually find a battle at the moment. I think the closest we might have is for 10th and 11th between Muscat, who's really struggled here on the option tyres as well, of course. He did have a spin earlier in the race as well, and hasn't really recovered from that, so I'd say Muscat was probably a bit more comfortable in the rain here today.
Well, Muscat himself in the post-race chat said that his win was entirely down to luck. I'm sure that if he's in for interviews, he might echo those thoughts again. To be fair, you've got to call the strategy right. I think there was quite a bit of luck involved, to be fair, but, you know, he does have the pace for sure. Nevertheless, if we look at prime runners, he's currently sitting in P4, I believe. Oh, no, he's option, isn't he? Muscat's option.
So he's going to be very bad wherever he comes out. Come out down in about 20th. It's going to be that bad. I don't know how much he can make up at the end of this race, because we're already 50% of the way through. And it's gone that quickly. It's going to finish that quickly as well. And that's really where the option tyres just don't help too much, because they're only about a lap quicker than the primes. Mainly for the guys that are really on it. That's the kind of difference you'll see in lap time. So if you pit now, you've only got effectively 10 laps to make that time up, so you're only going to recover potentially between 10 and 15 seconds. And I believe Adam Rouse has just gone into the pit, so he's the first option tyre runner to pit here today.
Bit early if you ask me, lap 13 of 20, well, lap 12/13 of 22. I would have expected maybe a couple more laps, as is the case with everyone else. Onto the option tyres he comes, though. Everyone filtering their way through. And good old Adam Rousey on his return to racing. Unfortunately, going to end up out of the top 20 is Siggy. What's happened to Siggy? Oh, was Siggy disconnected as well?
Yes.
Yep, he's gone as well. It's a server issue. Absolutely a server issue. That's the 3rd driver today. Wupke Hookshaw also out, by the way, but he was out thanks to suspension. So Adam Rouse back out into P19 on the options. He's got a ways to go before he can get back up into the points.
Yeah, let's have a look. He's got about 16 seconds between himself and another. Of course, there's going to be guys around him that's going to pull him in as well. So you'll be back in about 13th or 14th by the time everyone cycles through their pit stops. But he is going to have a bit of work to do to be able to pick up these positions as well. Of course, it's not that easy to overtake. You've got to follow a guy ahead of you around a few corners before you can make an overtake into one of the longest straights potentially.
Oh my goodness, look at P11. P11, Jono Holmes is being swamped by literally everyone.
Prime and option runners.
Prime and option, yeah. We've got Cullen, McNaughton here trying to make a move on Cullen. Look at Cullen here though, he's on prime tyres. Oh no, as we've got another retirement. Dennis Jordan. And he was just in that battle. And yep, he just disconnected as well. Oh, this is so poor. This is so poor. I hate to see drivers disconnecting like this. That's what, the 6th or 7th person who's disconnected this race?
Fourth, I'd say. Fourth person to disconnect in this race. Of course, we had a couple in race 1 as well. So yeah, not good for them. But it is good for Emmanuel Gaxella at the moment. I'm looking at his lap times. He's still doing low 23s. He's not dropping off in terms of pace. So I don't know when
pulling away from Frančić, actually.
Yeah. Oh, he's done a 23.4. Although he did have Todor Pangev.
Todor Pangev.
I can't say it, can I?
Asprey in. And I think he's going to come out close to P10 here to Jono Holmes. I think Asprey's on for a top 10 here, to be honest.
Yep. If he comes out in this gaggle of cars, it might be a bit of a struggle for him, but he'll clear them once he gets past them and ease away from them very easily indeed. He'll be a brand new rubber. That's what you want to see. He's going to get overtaken by them all, though, looking like it. Yeah. So it is a bit more than 20 seconds,
more,
isn't it?
Yeah.
About
more like 22, 23, 4, yeah. As Cullen and McNaughton, very close through turn 1 there. Router through as well. Router on the prime compound tyre as well. Oh my goodness me. Very close. I do wonder whether Jono is suffering to a legacy of that Van der Voort incident, but he is so slow. It's painful. Here comes McNaughton now. McNaughton on the option tyre. Sure, it's worth letting him go at this point. As I'm looking back up to the front, to see whether Emmanuel Gaxella is going to come back in, or to come in for the first time rather. Lap 15 of 22 here. I think the option tyres have run their mark, surely. Goes round again. He's making these options last.
See what the lap... Oh, he's just done a 22.8. His fastest lap of the race. I reckon this will be the lap that he comes in then, because I think he's turned it up and really gone for it now. Ah, that's an incredible lap time. A really good effort. Of course, the fuel is going down because everyone else is setting PBs, especially the prime runners, as Tom van der Voort does a 23.9, but that's still over a second slower than Emmanuel Gaxella.
Lap 16 of 22. We've had 6 retirements so far, majority of them unfortunately through disconnections. Liechtenstein, Barclay, Malim, Hoekstra, Siggy and Jordan out as McNaughton gets past Holmes there for P9 and P10. I'm guessing someone has pitted. I think David Junt has come into the pits. Yes, he has. He comes back out into P16, just ahead of Adam Rouse. Those two could be in for points if they are able to get a move on.
Yeah, so I'm just working out here. If Gaxella pits, which I'm actually not sure if he's going to do.
He might stay out, mightn't he?
Yeah.
But if he does pit, he'll probably come out around P6 or 7. But he'll be on the options.
Yeah, the thing is, when everyone cycles through, he'll be in 5th place effectively. So he'll have Van der Voort, Capit, De Vries and Heasterbeek to pass.
Gaxella in. And will Frančić follow? Yes, he will. That's a pitting line. So our front two are in, and that means that Tom van der Voort will go through to take the race win. Now, we saw Van der Voort have an incident earlier, which I know will be reported for sure. So Risto Capit behind as well. Worth him saying there, wouldn't you say?
You're certainly not keeping away from your team manager decisions and certainly making them public. But yeah, look at this by Capit. He's suddenly only half a second, if that, going through turn 3 into turn 4 now. He's right on the back of Tom van der Voort, and you'd have to say Van der Voort run his tyres. He's, to be fair, he's still doing around 24s, but Capit is into the mid-23s. That's really good pace by the Walk Racing driver. So this is certainly going to turn into a battle now, which is now the battle for the lead and for the win of this race.
But Emmanuel Gaschella's only 7.4 behind.
That's a good point, but he's got to get past Heasterbeek, De Vries,
On
Capit
brand
and
new
Van der Voort.
option rubber.
They're not the easiest guys to pass, and
No.
he's got 6 laps left to do it in. 4 guys in 6 laps. It's certainly possible. I'm not saying that, but it's not a done deal yet, and I think that's what's going to make the end of this race so exciting.
McNaughton's actually yet to pit still. I've just noticed that he's up there in P7. He is yet to pit on lap 17 of 22. Could he genuinely be trying to go to the end on the options?
He's just done his personal best at 23.9 on the previous lap, so he's either going to pit in now or he's going to go for it, and we'll see what happens.
Let's have a little look. It looks like going around the. I think he's going to the end on the options.
On a day of gambling, it's worth a gamble. And he's done a 24.0, so he's not the fastest guy. He's about equaling the prime compound tyre runners now. But we'll see if that drop off does occur. I don't really know anything about it because we've never seen anyone try this before. It's going to be a bit of a walk into the unknown here.
Indeed. Is there any other battles going on?
Well, of course, there's a battle for the lead.
There is a battle for the lead, yes, of course, with Van der Voort and Capit here very close. Just notice Adam Rouse has actually gotten up into the points. He's now P15, so that option strategy from the back of the grid has worked to some degree. Past Muscat, in fact.
Who, of course, is on options as well. So that is effectively a battle for position between the two of them. I'm just checking on Capit here because he's still only 0.3 of a second behind Tom van der Voort, and I think he's going to have a run now down the pit straight. Here we go, Van der Voort's defending early. Look at the straight line speed of Capit as he takes the toe from Van der Voort. They're going to go side by side. Capit's on the outside into turn 1. Capit turns in on Van der Voort, just about holds it and gets the position. Yeah.
Capit won in race 2 of WSS. Can he win here in race 2 of Supercup? Going to love this circuit, I'm sure, if that is the case. De Vries 3.3 behind in third with Ruud Heasterbeek P4. And then here comes Emmanuel Gachella, only 5.3 off the lead. He is now catching the back of these guys as McNaughton's still going round. I think he's going to make it to the end, you know.
He's done a 24.2, so that's what he's been doing. That's his lap times. That's nothing out of the ordinary, so... Yeah, he's run a bit wider, hasn't he? Yeah. And Gagzella is starting to close in. He's now within a second of Ruud Heasterbeek for 4th position. So
look at that, 4.9 off. But time's running out now. It's lap 19 of 22, soon to be lap 20 of 22. So he's got to dispose of Heasterbeek and De Vries in very quick succession if he's to have any hope of trying to go for the lead.
And that's exactly what this strategy is all about. It is a huge gamble. You've just got to hope that you can overtake the people when it comes round to it at the end of the race like this. And this is going to be a real test for Gagzella. What a race when it would be. It would be deserved, but he's got a lot of work to do before we can even start talking about him winning the race right now.
Lap 20 of 22, we are on then. As Van der Voort goes for the lead on Capit again. Oh, Capit just about holds it, but this is going to hold the two of them up. And it's only going to reel in De Vries and Gachella. Here comes Gachella now, onto the back of Ruud Heasterbeek. I don't think we're going to see him move down into the hairpin, but surely a move is going to be made this lap. He is cruising up to the back of these two.
Yeah, and Heasterbeek's really catching up with De Vries as well, so this has turned into a three-way battle for the final podium position. Gagzella's going to be the favourite for sure for this battle. but it's going to be very, very close, and this is where Gigshow just has to keep his head, because De Vries and Easterby could get very feisty in their battle as well, because it's going to be big for their championship. As McNaughton's gone round, McNaughton spun, coming into the hairpin, turn 5, actually I think it's coming out, he spun it, so that's cost him his race on his option tyres. He's dropped down to 14th position now.
Oh, what a shame. As I'm sorry, the battle lead is still going on, I know, but Gashella, I think we've got to look at Gashella here. Actually, no, do we? Vanderbilt might have a step back on the lead here.
You watch one, I'll watch the other.
I'll watch Vanderbilt. Here we go. I noticed Gashella's only 3.6 behind the leaders now. Vanderbilt looks to the inside of Capit. Will there be contact into turn 1? Capit around the outside. Oh, Capit just about holds on. And Gashella's pass.
Both
Is he
of them.
past both of them? Oh, he has a tank slapper though. He's surely past De Vries. De Vries, oh, by De Vries. Off he goes. He's past De Vries. He's got to get past Eastby now. Capit just about holding on. Gashella's got to have the lapse of his life. If he wants to have a chance of challenging for the lead, he's got to have a stab at Easterbeek here. Surely into the hairpin. He breaks late. And he's got it as well. Does he hold on around the outside? Yes, he does. Gashella onto the podium. He's got to hold off Easterbeek for a little bit more now, as the Netherlands driver tries to get back at him. I think, oh, he holds on just about. He's got to focus only forward now. As Capit, oh, Vanderbilt goes for the lead. And Capit, there's contact between the two. Capit just about staying ahead, but they are wrecking their race. And if Gashella has a good final lap, he could be onto the back of them. I mean, they're going into contact now, Sam. What if they spin?
If they spin, then it's all over for both of them. But look at this, they both want to win. Neither have had a win yet this season, have they? So
no. Actually, no, Vanderbilt won. Vanderbilt won in Bahrain.
Yes, he did. Race 1, wasn't it? Yes. Yes, that's coming back to me now. Yeah, so Vandervoort.
2.8 seconds, Gashella.
Wow.
Sorry, Capit and Vanderbilt going to battle again in turn 1! Oh my word, how did those two not go into contact? Perhaps they did. Vandervoort, oh my word. Capit sticks it in though into turn 4. They're so slow, they are holding themselves up so badly. Gashella, 2.3 seconds behind now. Vandervoort, he goes for the lead again into the hairpin. And as he got it, he shuffles Capit out onto the rumble strip. Capit's still holding on, bless him. He's doing everything he can to hold on. But I'm just looking at Gashella. Look how fast he is closing in on this now. It might not be enough. It might not be enough. I think there has to be contact between these front two to give Gashella a chance. As Vandervoort dives to the inside. Capit, oh, that was a great move from Vanderbilt, actually. Right up the inside, really opportunistic. Capit left the door wide open, didn't he?
It doesn't look like he's going to try. He's going around the outside into this left-hander here. I don't know why he tried that, because that wasn't on either for Capit. Capit's just kind of lost his head in this final couple of corners, yeah. And he might actually lose second here. Vanderbilt's surely going to win here for Simcraft Racing. He didn't look like he would when he got overtaken, but here he comes.
Vanderbilt wins from Capit, from Gashella. It was all very close at the end, and Capit breaking in the middle of the track. Capit let Vanderbilt have the win there. Really poor performance at the end. We were talking about his racecraft, weren't we? And he's let the win out of his grasp. Easterbeek 4th, De Vries 5th, Frančić 6th. So another great evening for David there. Philip Cullen 7th, Danny Asbury 8th, Jono Holmes 9th, Scott Beresford comes across 10th, so that's 2-point score for TSA. They'll be happy with that. Tapper from the back of the grid, P11, great job from him. David Yunt after a first lap spin 12th. Adam Rouse 13th. Good show from him. Jason Muscat 14th. And Marcel Rauter ran out of fuel on the last lap from 15th position. That 15th place will go to Roy Verzeil. But Marcel Rauter, Fubar, he ran out of fuel at the very end.
A disaster for Smile Power Racing. That's one thing you don't want to do in a race, is get your fuel wrong, because you've done everything right and it's only come down to being 1 litre too light, which really isn't going to save you much at the end of the day.
I tell you what, actually though, Sam, and Ben picking up on the point, not just me, I think we've got to remember the first lap contact with Vandervoort. Bit harsh. Bristow still could have the race win. That's going to probably have to be reported. Well, that will be reported to the DC committee. Oh yeah, I'm just saying that.
James, your team could decide this race.
Well, it's a lap one incident as well, so it won't even have to
Oh,
be
of course,
reported.
it will be
It'll be
reported.
automatically checked,
Yeah,
won't it?
it will be checked anyway. Of course, yes.
So there we go. Will Van der Vaart win race 1? Or sorry, race 2 even. We'll have to wait and see back on that one. Maybe Risto was aware of the situation, but even then, why would he take the chance?
Yeah,
I mean, he left the
especially
door so wide open.
and especially considering the way Gexelli just stormed up to the back of them, that Risto actually nearly lost second position in the end as well. He was only 3/10 ahead of Gexella, and if he got the final corner wrong or the corner before that, then Gexella would have easily got second and could have won the race as well. So I don't know what was going on, whether it was intended or not, but either way, Tom van der Vaart's won the race for the moment. He drove well after that turn 5 collision on lap 1, did well for the rest of the race, and really kind of held his head to be able to come back from what was surely the race-ending move when he got overtaken by Capit, only to take him back again. So good effort with that.
Right, we've got Ben back now. That's good. I noticed we'd lost him.
I probably didn't hear what I said.
No. let's Right, let's get Risto in and let's have a chat about this. Risto, you had race 1, you led for laps, you took the race lead, you were defending so well off Van der Vaart, and then what happened at the end? It's almost like you went wide and left the door wide open for him.
I don't know. I always thought every lap about this corner. I mean, the previous lap he tried the same move, and I could carry so much more speed, but I was a little bit too cautious, and he just edged me. So very, very close, but very good racing.
I mean, ultimately, there's been a big talking point, especially in context of the results, as Van der Vaart had a lap 1 incident, which is probably going to be reviewed anyway. So you might still get the win anyway. But that said, overall, quite a successful event for you, wouldn't you say? I know race 1 was a bit of a, you're either lucky or you're not sort of situation, but good points on the board and a pole position to, actually, no. Yeah, was it pole position? Yes. Yeah, it was pole position as well to boot. So surely you're starting to bed yourself more into the car, trying to find more confidence and seeing the results to come with that as well.
Yes, exactly. I mean, first of all, it helps a bit that I drove this track with the Porsches, so I knew the cameras and stuff, although the car is so different, I know the track. And for example, I know Van der Vaart just hates the track, but I just love it, so that might have given quite a bit of a boost. But yeah, this whole open wheeler thing is very new for me. But yeah, it's every race and every lap I'm getting closer. The season is very long. I do not plan to not win, and if I do get the win for this race, it will be very, very nice indeed.
Sure it will be. I know a lot of drivers don't like winning by default, but by my eyes, points are points. Yes. And so, yeah, anyway, good job on your podium, regardless of whatever position it will be in the end, and a good job on a good evening all around. As we now bring in David Junt and Ruud Heesterbeek. Shall we start with Ruud? So that was an interesting event, wasn't it? Poor qualifying, a race 1 of all race 1s, and a slightly inconspicuous race 2.
Yeah, you could sum it up like that. Of course, quali was disappointing. I didn't get a lap in the dry. Yeah, P18. So there was a high chance that it was going to rain, of course. So I was just in the race, trying not to make a mistake, keep it on the road. Yeah, and that got me pretty far, I think. Pretty good result to get second in the end. It was an amazing race. I think 3 pit stops.
Yeah.
And then sprint race was not a lot happened. I overtook Sven and a couple of option guys that passed me. But yeah, just drove to 4th place. Not much that happened there.
But of course, even though your run of 1st and 2nds has now come to an end, if my maths is correct, then you do lead the championship. So now that you've gotten there, do you plan to hold an iron grip over it? Are you going to be disappointed if you lose that championship lead from now on?
I will definitely be disappointed if I lose it. Yes, I'll try to keep it for the rest of the season, but that will be difficult. Yeah, nice to be on the top, and I think nice results for the team also, because we got second and fourth in both races, so a lot of points there as well. It's also important. So yeah, a good event overall, I think. So hopefully we can continue this in the next rounds.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Rue. We now move on to David Janssen. For so many laps, you led race 1, and then, I mean, surely a podium is still a great result to get in race 1. I know you spun somewhere along the line in race 2, but yet you still managed to score points, thankfully. But do you feel slightly disappointed from this event, or are you looking at it from a more positive light?
Of course, I'm a bit more disappointed, just a tiny bit, since in the dry, I think we would have had the speed for top 10, yes, but I don't think we would have gotten much further than that where we are, or at least in my case, speaking for myself, I wouldn't have gotten much further, I would say, even if I did my best. But the rain did help me kind of a lot, even though in the beginning I managed to pass Gashella and guys, and then I made a mistake again, dropped back again. That's just how I saw. Once I had a free track on the slightly wet track, I was catching Tom quite quickly, and if I hadn't slid off, I would have probably taken him quite soon. And I once went off at third corner or something, cost me 2 seconds to Ziggy, and those 2 seconds cost me in the end. Since without that, I'd probably have won, but I probably made the mistake of waiting too long for the last pit stop and then changing. But I think it was, of course, in any case, was probably the right decision to pit, since I was just about not even 4 seconds ahead of Ziggy anymore, and I think my tires would have been down to the rim on the wet. So it was a good thing to pit and get that second podium of the season, but it could have been a win. I admit it's a lost win to me.
Oh, well, it's still points at the end of the day. It was a great day for Waters as well. So congratulations on your podium, nevertheless, David. Cheers for joining us. And now,
Thanks.
Now we have the hold on just a second, just got to check a little thing. Right, yeah. Now, man of the hour, Tom van der Voort. First of all, congratulations on the race 1 win for sure, but we do have a bit of controversy. You hit Jonathan Holmes at the start. What was your view of the incident?
It was heat of the moment. It was chaos. I was looking too much in my mirrors, and when I stopped looking at my mirrors, Jonathan was already braking, so I had to move out of the way. Scared me, jumped the brake too hard, locked up, passenger in my own car, and I hit him. I was trying my best to not hit him, but it just scared shit out of me. And I mashed the brake because he was suddenly there, and I didn't want to crash into him at all. But I just locked the fronts both, and it just went straight on, didn't steer at all. And obviously Jonathan expected me to turn in, which would be the normal thing to do, but my car didn't turn, so I went into a side pod. I'm not sure how much he dropped by that, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't a botched overtake. It was me trying to not hit him, actually, but I ended up still hitting him, and it's a shame. But it wasn't on purpose, so if you hear this, Jonathan, my sincere apologies.
Apologies for the swearing, by the way. And I think everyone knows that you're not trying to hit people off the road. I think that's generally the case in sim racing. There are a select few, of course, who do nasty things, but I don't think we'd expect anything like that from you. But, let's say worst comes to worst, or, regardless, you got the pace to get a race win. And overall, you've still scored a good bunch of points for Simcraft. And I think considering your slowish pace in qualifying, you were similar to Ruud, I think things came out a lot better than they could have been overall as an event.
Yeah, the problem for me is lately, whenever I'm practicing, my qualifying pace seems good, and then when qualifying comes around, I just can't do it. It's not getting out. I had a personal best of a 22.6, which would have been either pole or second today, but I just got stuck. and I never expected the field to be as tight as it was today, because I think I was like 4 tenths off, 5 tenths off or something, and it was 12. I've never seen anything like it. I think the top 21 was within a second, so that's insane. So even just dropping the pace a little bit can cost you a lot of positions. And race 1 was just a wreck. I had a great start, spun twice, got back to second, spun again. It was a roller coaster, but race 2, just trying to keep it cool. But that last few laps with Risto, man, holy shit, I'm still sweating.
Same.
Again, apologies for the swearing, but yeah, I think a roller coaster round is a perfect summary of today. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Tom. As I say, plenty to discuss, not just about this race, but going into the next race. What are we to expect, Sam? We're going to Istanbul Park. It's a track that some people hate, some people love, always produces great racing. What if it rains there as well? What are we meant to do?
Oh dear, I don't know, man. To be honest, the rain caught me out today. I thought it was going to be dry, so maybe if I know it's going to rain in Istanbul, I can be prepared for it, and we're going to have some great racing on our hands. But we've got 2 weeks, we've got plenty of time to prepare, so hopefully everything will go according to plan, and we can get more results like this.
Cheers for joining us anyway, Tom. So, as I alluded to there, Istanbul Park is where we head next. It's a personal favourite of Sam's, not so much of mine, but as I say, should produce some great racing, hopefully, whether there is rain or whether there is not.
Yeah, certainly, absolutely fantastic track. As I said, I think it's one of the best tracks ever made, in my opinion. But that's quite arguable for a lot of people, but I absolutely love the track. And what we're going to do if it rains, I know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to put the wet tyres on and we're going to turn up the volume, because it's going to be an absolute belter, just like race 1 was today. That was by far one of the craziest races I think I've ever seen in Supercup. Certainly the craziest I've ever had the opportunity to commentate on, considering how crazy a lot of the races are. It was pretty mental. So I can certainly see that we're going to be in for some more action next time out at Istanbul, one of the best tracks to overtake on as well.
Yes, I'd agree on that.
Which it's certainly going to be great to see, and that'll certainly be a key feature for race 2 as well, of course, if we have another split between the prime and option tyres. In terms of the championship, it's still certainly all on between Heasterbeek and De Vries at the top. You'd have to say it's mainly between those two at the moment, but I wouldn't rule anyone else out just yet. And another strong showing, of course, by the whole Walk Racing team as well today. So I'd say it's probably their best kind of all-round performance without even taking a win. It's still been good for both of their drivers today in both of the championships too. So yeah, certainly look forward to 2 weeks' time. I can't wait for next week either, because I'll be back in the cockpit again for ITC as that kicks off, which I'm really looking forward to as well. Of course, that will be broadcast as well, so certainly join in to watch that.
Indeed. So, right then, that is all we have time for from a crazy Portimao race. Unfortunately, there's not any rain forecast, I should say, for tomorrow, but do please join in as Simon Smith will take you around the Portuguese Grand Prix. That'll be on around the same time. Then, Monday, we have the return of the International Touring Cup. It's always due to throw up some madness, and we're in Portugal again, but a different track at the circuit Vasco Samero. Sure to throw up some great racing there, if not a little bit of bumping as well. Then, next Wednesday, Istanbul Park is the Turkish Sports Series. We've got plenty of good action there. And then the next action will be 2 weeks Tuesday, when it's Open Series and Formula Challenge, and then join us on the Wednesday once again, 2 weeks' time, for the round at Istanbul. We'd like to thank my cameraman, Ben Hackerson, and all his associates for getting the broadcast together. It was a tight one, but we managed to do it. I'd like to thank Sam Jones as well for being in the broadcast booth with me, as always. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it's a very warm goodbye.